What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 9DF Chapter 216 Decided to Betray, please subscribe. Everyone was overjoyed. Uchiha Shisui had the Mangekyo Sharingan, which was naturally a joy for them. The appearance of these eyes instantly dissipated the dignified atmosphere just now. Uchiha Shisui said that he first glanced around in the field, and everyone who looked at him subconsciously missed the line of sight with him. As if those eyes contained some kind of magic, just by looking at it, you can feel a terrible pressure. This is Mangekyo's repressive power over ordinary Sharingan, especially in terms of pupil power. The two are not on the same level at all. Clap clap. Uchiha Fugaku clapped his hands, attracted everyone's ideas, and then said solemnly, although Shisui has Mangekyo, it is a good thing for Uchiha, but everyone, don't forget that our current situation is not good. Yes. Only then did everyone come back to their senses, and, 00, remembered what Uchiha Fugaku had just said. They killed Shimura Danzo, the village's advisor. This problem is not a small one. What are you afraid of? With Mangekyo Sharingan, do we still need to be afraid of the village? If it's a big deal, we will directly showdown. This is what the village owes us. Obviously we and the Senju family built Konoha together, but Hokage is the fourth generation. It's not our turn, Uchiha, it's not fair. Some people shouted loudly, their faces full of anger, and there were not a few people who agreed with what he said. Yeah, we endured it before. But now that Shisui has Mangekyo Sharingan, we don't need to endure any longer. We must let the village know the anger of our Uchiha clan. That's right, the village has treated the Uchiha clan badly for too long, and Mangekyo Sharingan, this is the eyes that Uchiha Madara had at the beginning, and now that Shisui has such eyes, the power of our Uchiha clan has greatly increased, and there is no need to worry about how the village will treat it. We are. Listening to everyone's discussion, Uchiha Fugaku frowned, but he was a little fortunate in his heart. He was glad that he didn't reveal that he had Mangekyo, but only let Shisui reveal Mangekyo, which made almost 2/3 of the people present frantically. If he exposed Mangekyo again, it is estimated that the whole Uchiha would boil. At that time, although he will not lose control of the family, the vast majority of people in the family will agree to go to war with the village directly. In that case, the consequences will become even more uncontrollable. Just then, Uchiha Shisui went to speak. Everyone, if you want to start a war with the village, then I will withdraw. Advertisement. When these words fell, the clamoring words of the crowd stopped abruptly, and most of them looked at Uchiha Shisui in disbelief, seeming to be surprised why he would say such words. Why? Someone asked subconsciously. Uchiha Shisui looked at the person who spoke out, his face was calm. Because, I am not the opponent of 4th Hokage. He didn't say his ability, because if he said it, these people might be afraid, but at the same time, they would expect him to use this ability on Hokage, which would definitely cause the whole Konoha to rebound. The result was something he absolutely did not want to see. It's impossible, Mangekyo's power is definitely better than 4th Hokage, he can't be your opponent, Shisui. You don't have to belittle yourself like this, another said. Obviously Uchiha Shisui's words did not convince the people present. I'm telling the truth, Flying Thunder God technique is almost impossible to solve, at least in my opinion. If I fight 4th Hokage, I may not be in mortal danger, but it is absolutely impossible to beat him. Yes, how terrifying the name of the Golden Glitter is, I believe you should be able to understand, so don't think that if you have a pair of Mangekyo in the clan, you don't have to worry about others. A bowl of cold water was poured down at the right time, which immediately calmed the minds of the people present, just because Uchiha Shisui said it himself. Although everyone still didn't want to believe it, no one was qualified to refute Uchiha Shisui. Then, what should we do? The rationale came back, and everyone immediately felt that it was difficult. The patriarch and the first genius of the clan killed consultant Konoha together. No matter how you look at it, this kind of thing cannot be a trivial matter. Uchiha Shisui looked at the patriarch Fugaku with a calm expression and nodded slightly, indicating that he could make up his mind. Uchiha Fugaku sighed secretly, and then his expression became firm. Everyone. Uchiha Fugaku glanced at the people present, and then said solemnly, with the strength of our Uchiha clan, if we really want to fight in front of the village, then what the consequences will be, I don't need to say more. Even with the power of Shisui, strength, the family still can't gain the upper hand. I know some of you think that we can launch a coup and wipe out the high-level Konoha, but don't forget, we are not the only ninjas among Konoha. Everyone was silent, they were naturally aware of this kind of thing. And it was precisely because of this that the patriarch said these words, and they were under enormous pressure. Advertisement, and after this incident, the family's situation will become more complicated. There are not many people in the village who have a good attitude towards Uchiha, but there are many people who hate Uchiha. Don't take the fear of those people as it is. Fear, they fear Uchiha only because they hate us. 99. Saying that, Uchiha Fugaku stood up with a heavy voice. So even if 4th Hokage is willing to get close to us, other people and other ninjas in our respect will always be vigilant against us. In this case, Uchiha's situation will be in the future more dangerous. Everyone's expressions were solemn, and some people's faces were even more worried. However, I have already found a way out for the Uchiha family. Having said that, Uchiha Fugaku simply let go, and his heart was also relieved. He also had luck before, even after killing Shimura Danzo, He also thought about whether he could find a way to improve the relationship between Uchiha and the village, but after what he said just now, he completely understood that Konoha simply there can be no place for Uchiha, which has been decided from the very beginning of the village. It is precisely because of this that Uchiha Fugaku really made up his mind to 3.1 instead of being forced to make a decision by Shi Shangyang. But if we defect from the village, where should we go? Someone asked. Lord Patriarch, what's the way back? Someone asked expectantly. Please subscribe. This time, everyone looked at the two of them incredulously. Their eyes wandered over the two of them, and at the same time, many people also reacted, knowing that this was the decision of the two. Seeing everyone looking at him expectantly, Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, and then said with a firm expression, "Everyone, I decided to lead the Uchiha clan and betray Konoha." Everyone's eyes widened, their faces full of disbelief. Wow! Uchiha Fugaku smiled. "I have chosen a retreat, where I will no longer feel the threat of Konoha." Uchiha Shisui said, "I support the decision of the PA Chapter 217 The Pain of the Hokage Family, please subscribe." At the same time, the atmosphere in the office of Konoha Hokage building was more solemn than that of the Uchiha clan. Everyone present was silent, as if thinking about how to solve this matter and how the Uchiha clan should deal with it. In addition to the 3rd generation and 4th generation Hokage, there were other ninja clan leaders, and even some elite members of the Genin class. In the arena, 3rd Hokage frowned tightly, smoking a pipe, the smoke lingered, and a trace of solemnity could be seen in his eyes. Now facing such a situation, even he didn't know what to do. After all, that was Uchiha. If not handled properly, it will bring disaster to the village. 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato has a serious face, his arms crossed his chest, and he is also silent. In his opinion, this matter is even more troublesome than the Nine Tails riot. If this is resolved properly, Konoha and Uchiha there's really going to be a war. Other people can naturally distinguish the current situation, and it is precisely because of this that everyone is so silent. But among this group of people, there is someone who doesn't want to let Uchiha go easily. This person is Utatane Kaharu, who can be said to be Shimura Danzo's natural ally. In many things, she and the previous Mitokado Homura will agree with Shimura to a certain extent. Danzo, this is also a tacit understanding between old teammates. And their tacit understanding actually originated from the 2nd generation period and learned from 2nd Hokage Senju Toburama. If Konoha has been the one who likes Uchiha the most from its establishment to the present, then it must be Senju Toburama. Senju Toburama and Uchiha Madara are absolute enemies. After all, the feud of killing his younger brother is really undeniable in Uchiha Madara's view. And the reason why Senju Toburama hates Uchiha so much is because Uchiha Madara, the original Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama end the valley battle. It can almost be said to have shaken the foundation of Konoha, and it is precisely because of this, from second since the beginning of the Hokage period, neglecting Uchiha has become a long-term idea of the Hokage family, which has continued to this day. But at this time, Uchiha killed Shimura Danzo, the senior advisor of Konoha, which completely tore the faces of both sides. Those things that maintained the surface peace also disappeared with the death of Shimura Danzo. This is the situation in front of everyone. I suggest to clear the Uchiha clan, such an unstable clan, and must not let it go. If you dare to kill Shimura Danzo this time, you will target Hokage next time. Konoha can't afford such a loss, so it is better to kill as soon as possible. It's better to eliminate the threat, Mitokado Homura said. When she said this, her expression was calm, and she didn't seem to be saddened by Shimura Danzo's death. Advertisement in fact, it is impossible for her to be sad. At her level, she has basically become a power animal. All she cares about is the rights in her hands from beginning to end, not to mention Shimura Danzo is dead. Even if Hokage is dead, as long as it doesn't threaten her rights, she will act as if she didn't see it. The silence was broken by her words, and everyone's expressions were different. In fact, many people agreed, but in this case, the ninja people naturally didn't want to be the first bird. It would be good to be able to destroy Uchiha. What you say can be a big problem. Can't. The one who spoke was 3rd Hokage, who took out his pipe and slammed it at the corner of the table. His voice was clear, and he said without raising his head, Uchiha is one of the heroes who established Konoha. He cannot be treated like this, and who is the current Jinchuriki in the village. Don't forget, the child is still young, and it's really reassuring to have Minato to raise it. But don't forget, the child will grow up. Utatane Kaharu said solemnly. We can completely change to another Jinchuriki. Nine Tails and Uchiha have a relationship, which is not a good thing in itself, and that child becomes Jinchuriki because of Shi Shangyang, not Konoha's choice. I disagree. This time it was Namikaze Minato who spoke with a serious expression. Sasuke is my child, followed by Nine Tails Jinchuriki. I hope everyone can remember this. This is the first time since he became Hokage, such a firm and serious speech, and even this sentence itself is a threat, which shows that he is sincere to Sasuke, not out of interest. Humph. Utatane Kaharu snorted and did not speak again. Both generations of Hokage expressed dissatisfaction with this, even she could only be silent. It is even more impossible for other people to speak at this time. They would rather be dumb than to express any opinions on this matter. Advertisement. Even if the ninjas hate Uchiha, but if they really want to destroy Uchiha, as one of the ninjas, they will feel a little bit sad, so they are reluctant to express their opinions on this kind of thing. This time it's Uchiha. Can we replace them next time? The other ninjas didn't have any obvious preference for this, so in the end, Hokage had to make up his mind about this kind of thing. Seeing everyone's concerns, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. Everyone may not know what Danzo has done over the years, but as the outgoing Hokage, I know very well. His path is already there. He went astray, and the reason for this incident was that he wanted to capture Uchiha Shisui's Sharingan, so he did such a thing. You may not even know that he had conducted human experiments on wood-style cells in private. In fact, if they were given a choice, they would be more willing to deal with the Uchiha family. In that case, the village would be at least one less threat. As Hokage, he can say such things, and it can be seen that he does not have much hostility towards Uchiha. This time, everyone was surprised. Please subscribe. So in this matter, Shimura Danzo is obviously at fault, and it is reasonable for Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Fugaku to fight back. You don't want your own things to be taken away by others, right? He shook his head as he spoke, but did not reveal the result, but the people on the scene were all ninjas, so he naturally knew what he wanted to express. It was nothing more than that those children were treated as experiments, and the result was naturally death. But the ending between the village and Uchiha cannot be changed by him. Everyone's disgust for Uchiha is irreversible. Although they did not speak up on this matter, it does not mean that they are willing to accept Uchiha and play down the issue. Namikaze Minato nodded. I think the handling of Uchiha can't be too harsh, and the punishment should be appropriately weakened. Sarutobi Hiruzen added. As far as I know, the wood-style experiment he started with Orochimaru brought many children from the battlefield, and as a result. Chapter 218 Calculations many years ago. Please subscribe. Namikaze Minato has defined this incident, just want to weaken the influence of this incident. Now this incident has not spread in the whole village, so there is still a lot of room for action, otherwise it will be spread. Later, based on the perception of ordinary villagers towards Uchiha, Uchiha won't say that everyone is yelling at that time, but the situation will definitely not be very good. In that case, it is the real cause of disaster for the future. But in fact, he also knows that even if this matter is dealt with now, if there is no better way, then the situation of Uchiha will not be good in the future, and even with the passage of time, there may be more problems with the village in the future. At that time, it would be really difficult to deal with the relationship between the two sides. But now, Namikaze Minato wants to improve his relationship with Uchiha. In fact, he has no good solution. What he wants is to reduce the influence of this matter first, do not make too much trouble, and then think about it a little bit. Way to resolve this. Third Hokage has the same idea as Namikaze Minato. The two have the same idea, but looking at the silent people at the scene, it is obvious that even if they did according to Namikaze Minato's order, the final result would not be much better. I agree. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Everyone was still silent, and they didn't make a clear statement on this matter. They also knew that even if they had an objection, it would not work in this meeting. The end result is to downplay the impact of Shimura Danzo's death, while disbanding Genbu to minimize the impact of the event. After the order was issued, the action began. After all, a senior in the village died, so the punishment for the Uchiha family was also essential in this matter. It is to reduce the funds of the guard force, and at the same time, the village will take the lead to establish a security team. This newly established security team is actually a security team, but it does not have the name of the security team. It is a warning to the Uchiha family, telling them that the village has a power to replace Uchiha at any time. This incident naturally made the Uchiha clan indignant. Only at this time did they really realize that the village's prejudice against the Uchiha clan was deeply rooted. Even when they knew that the Uchiha clan were victims, they had to punish the Uchiha clan. Naturally, most people in the clan were angry. But Uchiha Fugaku is now relieved. After seeing the village's punishment to the family, the heart he has been holding on has fallen. Strange to say, before he made up his mind to betray Konoha, he was worried that the village would deliberately target the family. But now that he is determined to leave Konoha, he actually expects the village to continue targeting the family, because only in this way can he be more determined. People sometimes think so strangely, and Uchiha Fugaku is now looking forward to the life of the family after leaving Konoha. 3 days later, Shi Shangyang appeared in the Uchiha clan and was the first to find Uchiha Fugaku. Advertisement, Yang-kun, you are finally here. Uchiha Fugaku was visibly relieved when he saw Shi Shangyang's arrival. Shi Shangyang just smiled lightly and asked, how is the situation now, 55 feet? Speaking of this, Uchiha Fugaku sighed and said helplessly, the village has punished our Uchiha. Then he explained the punishment, and then shook his head. Minato also talked to me privately, and Hokage intends to play down this matter, so it has not been announced to the public, it is just another matter. The establishment of a security team is a result of trade-offs, but... Shi Shangyang raised an eyebrow. Uchiha Fugaku frowned and said, but people in the village have begun to spread the news about what happened that day, and those who have a heart have pointed the finger at us. Obviously, some people don't want this to end like this. 39 Shi Shangyang chuckled, looking as if he had expected it long ago. It's not unexpected to have such a result, in fact, you should have thought about it too, right? Uchiha Fugaku nodded helplessly. Indeed, as Shi Shangyang said, after the death of Shimura Danzo, he reviewed the situation of the Uchiha clan in these years, as well as his own thoughts in recent years, and why the people in the village had such a big view of Uchiha hostility. In the end, a helpless fact is discovered, Uchiha seems to be at odds with Konoha, which is the root cause of Uchiha's confrontation with Senju, and then to the reconciliation of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. The reconciliation at the beginning was only a reconciliation between the two people, not a complete reconciliation between Uchiha and Senju. Even the reconciliation between the two was mixed with Uchiha Madara's hatred for Senju Tobirama. Surface. So later Uchiha Madara withdrew from Konoha, and the situation of the Uchiha family immediately became dangerous. Since then, Uchiha has become an alternative to Konoha, but Uchiha himself does not know it, so that until now, Uchiha is in Konoha's the reputation has been hard to come back. It seems that someone secretly gave orders, and the news began to spread in the village, Uchiha Fugaku said. Shi Shangyang didn't care much about this, but asked, so, what about the decision on Uchiha's side? 35. Advertisement. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath and said, we decided to do as you said. Yang-kun, are you sure it really works? Shi Shangyang looked at him with a half smile, and then said, did I tell you something? What? Uchiha Fugaku was blank. The defection of the Hyuga branch house a few years ago, was I the one who caused it? 35. Uchiha Fugaku's expression froze, and then his eyes widened in disbelief. Is this true? Until this moment, he didn't know why Shi Shangyang had the idea of letting Uchiha quit Konoha. It turned out that he had already done similar things. Shi Shangyang nodded with a smile, please subscribe. That's it, I understand, don't worry, Yang-kun. I have already issued an order in 2 days, and let the family secretly start making arrangements, and in a few days, we will be able to evacuate in an orderly manner. Yes, that, was a few years ago. At that time, 183 people passed by the Hyuga branch house. In the past few years, the number of their newborns has exceeded 70, which is more than the population of Konoha's entire Hyuga family has increased by more in 5 years. Uchiha Fugaku swallowed subconsciously, then stood up abruptly, staring at Shi Shangyang. You've been planning this since then, right? Shi Shangyang smiled and said, don't be so troublesome, I'm here to help you transfer 0. Uchiha Fugaku fell to the ground and shook his head with a wry smile. Shi Shangyang didn't hide it, nodded and said, yes, Uchiha shouldn't be a trapped beast in Konoha. The world is wider outside, isn't it? 39. Chapter 219. The Mangekyo ability of Fugaku Heaven Defying. Please subscribe. What are you going to do? Uchiha Fugaku asked subconsciously. After asking, he smiled wryly and shook his head. Yes, in your case, there must be other ways. Shi Shangyang just smiled and said, give me some time, you arrange the family affairs first, then I will directly transfer everyone away. 99. Transfer? Well, Flying Thunder God technique, right? Uchiha Fugaku's eyes widened. Yang-kun, you have mastered the Flying Thunder God technique? Shi Shangyang shrugged. It's just a ninjutsu, there's no need to make such a fuss. If you want to learn, I'll teach you when the time comes. Is it okay? What's wrong with this? You'll know when you get there. Ninjutsu is the cheapest thing on my side. As long as you want to learn it, you can learn it, but it's up to you whether you can master it or not. Personal ability. Uchiha Fugaku was quite shaken in his heart and felt a little incredible. Does such a place really exist in the ninja world? Seeming to see his doubts, Shi Shangyang explained. I founded a village there, a village that is different from other ninja villages, where ninja is just a profession, not a tool. Art is just a kind of knowledge, we never hide it, lock it on a high platform, and give it to those who want to learn. Knowledge will only become useful if it is mastered, otherwise, 000 words. Shi Shangyang shook his head and did not continue to speak, but Uchiha Fugaku understood what Shi Shangyang meant, but now he was even more curious about who "we" was in Shi Shangyang's mouth, so he asked his doubts. You'll know when you get to the place. Now, you'd better not know, Shi Shangyang said. Seeing this, Uchiha Fugaku didn't ask any further questions. Okay, let's do this first, give you 3 days to deal with this matter, can you do it? Shi Shangyang said. Uchiha Fugaku nodded, don't worry, okay then, contact me then. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang didn't stop here, but left directly. Now, he doesn't need to show up here. Like the last time he dealt with the Hyuga branch house, he just needs to wait for the people here to gather. The fact that he was a little surprised, did not actually wait 3 o'clock, the day after he left the Uchiha tribe, he received a notice from Uchiha Fugaku. So fast? Shi Shangyang was indeed a little surprised. This is the evacuation of the entire Uchiha. There are many people, and there are many things to be removed. Shi Shangyang does not know how Uchiha Fugaku did it. Facts have proved that the determined Uchiha Fugaku can indeed shoulder the responsibility of the head of the Uchiha clan. At least the control of the Uchiha clan is indeed surprising. So, how did you do it? Shi Shangyang was indeed a little curious. Uchiha Fugaku shook his head slightly and sighed. I didn't do anything, in fact, I just told everyone my guess, and gave everyone 2 choices. One is to stay in the village, the other is to leave the wood. And the clansmen chose the latter. Shi Shangyang nodded, and did not doubt that such a multiple-choice question was not difficult to do. Then he asked another question. So, about your eldest son, have you informed him? Uchiha Fugaku's expression changed slightly, his expression was very complicated, he hesitated, and finally said, I didn't inform him. 35 this time, Shi Shangyang was surprised. Why? Itachi has a special feeling for the village. I can feel that he may not be willing to leave with the clansmen, it seems. He wants to take care of his younger brother, Uchiha Fugaku said. Shi Shangyang thought for a while when he heard the words, and then the corners of his mouth twitched. Uchiha Fugaku looked bitter. Obviously things would not be as simple as he said. You must have tried to tell him about it. Uchiha Fugaku opened his mouth and finally just nodded. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang understood, smiled and said, then let me guess, you tried to tell him the news, but in the end, BEDB, you gave up, not because he has special feelings for the village, but you Sharingan's ability tells you that if you do this, there will be bad consequences, right? 35. Uchiha Fugaku's expression changed, and he looked at Shi Shangyang in awe. The smile on Shi Shangyang's face grew brighter, and with a thought, he took the golden card dropped from Uchiha Fugaku. Drop. Congratulations to the host for getting the ability card overtime 20,000, close black lens bracket. After learning the specific effect of the ability in the card, Shi Shangyang couldn't help being surprised. He didn't expect Uchiha Fugaku to have such an ability. The so-called 20,000 times over time, to be precise, it is prediction, or prophecy, which is the ability to predict something or a certain state, and can see the most probable among countless possibilities, state of occurrence. Just this point is enough to make people surprised, and the most shocking thing is the effect of this ability in battle. It can predict the opponent's actions within 3 seconds. It is better to see it directly. What happens in 3 seconds is really a bug. At this moment, Shi Shangyang understands it. No wonder Uchiha Fugaku in the original plot did not choose to resist on the night of the genocide. Out of a father's love for his child, his ability saw all this, so he chose to fulfill his son. It must be said that it is a great fatherly love. And this ability is similar to what Shi Shangyang guessed. The reason why he asked that is because in the original plot, there was a side description of Uchiha Fugaku Mangekyo's ability. Uchiha Fugaku used the pupil technique to let Uchiha Itachi see the picture of 9 tails ravaging Konoha, and that picture is very likely to be a possibility that Uchiha Fugaku saw among the thousands of possibilities. It was also based on this that Shi Shangyang made that kind of guess, and at the same time asked that kind of thing. Uchiha Fugaku was silent for a moment, then shook his head with a wry smile. I really can't hide anything from you, Yang-kun. Your insight is really terrifying. Shi Shangyang just smiled and said, this is your secret, I won't explore it, but this ability of yours will be more useful later. This ability is really heaven-defying to use against the enemy, but for Shi Shangyang, the biggest use of this ability is that it can be used in research. Just imagine, when a research begins, activating this ability to see the final possible outcome from the countless possibilities, how much help will it bring to the research? Can't imagine it, really, in this way, I'm not worthless. Uchiha Fugaku shook his head slightly. Chapter 220. Where is Dad? Subscribe. The current Uchiha clan is very chaotic. It is the kind of chaos where people are walking around, but these people are silent when they are walking. What's on my mind? Shi Shangyang asked Uchiha Fugaku to issue an order to gather the Uchiha people, and this is the result. In general, the people of the Uchiha clan are very cooperative. Whether it is the clan who have awakened the Sharingan, or those who have not awakened the Sharingan, they now know what will happen next. Most of them are uneasy, some are looking forward to it, and some are terrified. No one knows what it will be like after leaving Konoha, and they also do not know where this departure is going. In short, they are more nervous than expected. Fortunately, Uchiha Fugaku has enough prestige in the clan, and everyone knows the current situation of the Uchiha clan. Since there is no way to compete head-on with Konoha, then they simply walk away happily. Now these Uchihas are in this mood. Don't you Konoha dislike our Uchiha? Well, can we leave? I won't play with you. It's roughly like this. It didn't take much time to gather people, not enough to gather thousands of people. It was not that simple, big and small, old and young, although no one said a word, but they brought a lot of things, big bags and small bags. Thanks to the Uchiha people, the land occupies a large area and the area is wide. Otherwise it would be really difficult to get all these people up. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto were the last ones to arrive. They have been busy from the beginning until now, and it is almost time to see that the people are assembled, and this is the end of the work at hand. Somewhat reluctant, some helpless, Uchiha Fugaku glanced around at the clan, shook his head lightly and sighed. Why, it looks like you can't bear it, Shi Shangyang asked. Uchiha Fugaku let out a long sigh and said inexplicably, from now on, this place has nothing to do with the Uchiha family, and I don't know how Konoha will react when he finds out that Uchiha's people are gone. Shi Shangyang sneered. Do you care about this? That's not true, it's just a little worried about whether Itachi can get used to the future life. Uchiha Fugaku said. Uchiha Makoto, who was next to him, was weeping secretly, obviously at the moment of sadness. The corner of Shi Shangyang's mouth twitched. Are you sure you won't take Itachi with you? Uchiha Fugaku nodded silently, and then said, no, I left a letter at home, I have written everything I said on it, I just hope he can live a good life in Konoha. Advertisement, woo. Uchiha Makoto could no longer contain the pain in her heart and cried out. She is a mother, but now both children have left her. This kind of pain is difficult for ordinary people to understand. Uchiha Fugaku patted her shoulder comfortingly and remained silent. Shi Shangyang doesn't care much about the mood of the two, because it has nothing to do with him, and this is the reality. Since he made such a choice, it's good to bear it. Are you all ready? He asked. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, looked around, saw the mixed look of anticipation and fear on the faces of the tribe, and nodded solemnly. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "Well, let's all stand together, don't be too scattered." As for Shi Shangyang, many people in the audience knew that, such as Uchiha Matai and Uchiha Keisuke, they had all dealt with him, but they never thought that the family would one day rely on him to ensure safety, really unpredictable. Afterwards, Shi Shangyang split into 9 avatars and instantly appeared around the crowd. "Everyone, it's time to start." After speaking, the 9 clones began to form seals, and then opened their hands, palms and palms facing each other, and a chakra barrier appeared in an instant, connecting each other. This is just the beginning. As time goes by, that is, 2 or 3 seconds, the barrier is like an upside-down bowl, wrapping all the Uchiha people and their belongings in it, like the inside and outside of the bowl, divided into 2 spaces. The next moment, with a buzzing sound, all the people in the bowl, including the items, disappeared together, very abruptly. The scene was silent, as if nothing had happened, but the Uchihas who were still here just now have disappeared without a trace. What Shi Shangyang used just now is the Flying Thunder Formation technique, and it is not an ordinary Flying Thunder Formation technique, but the result after improvement. Ordinary Flying Thunder Array technique, which is performed jointly by 3 people, can transmit people or objects, but Shi Shangyang's display is equivalent to an advanced version. Person or thing. Katakana middle dot flowers katakana middle dot advertisement. With Shi Shangyang's ability, it is not difficult to transfer so many people and objects at one time. If it was a normal ninja, at most, he could only transfer 10 or dozens of people at most at one time. Moreover, there is still room for further improvement in this technique. In Shi Shangyang's vision, the ultimate form of this technique should be similar to the level of the Immortal Hero Teleportation Array, but at present, it cannot meet that requirement for the time being. The 9 clones disappeared. Shi Shangyang glanced at the Uchiha clan, the corners of his mouth twitched, and then the figure disappeared in a flash. He thought it was very interesting, and he didn't know if he would collapse when Uchiha Itachi came back. It would be even more interesting if his mind was full of where his father went. 0. However, Shi Shangyang was not interested in staying, waiting to see Uchiha Itachi's reaction. In his opinion, in the original plot, this child killed the entire clan, so now, the entire clan has turned his back on him, which is also a kind of crossing time. Line's revenge. Interesting, isn't it? On the other side, Tien Village. In a huge open space on the outskirts of the village, a group of people suddenly appeared, and it was the thousands of Uchihas who had been transferred. "You can come with me with your own things. TNG Village has prepared accommodation for everyone, and your new clan land has been built. And when you come here, you don't have to worry about your own safety. From now on, Tien Village is your home." Uchiha Fugaku frowned, then loosened gradually. "Uchihas who have come from afar, I am Naruto Hyuga, the patriarch of the Hyuga clan in Tanokura, and I represent Tanokura here, and I welcome you all." These people looked dazed, some were alert, some were nervous, and the ninjas of Uchiha were on the periphery, and they were already on guard. Clap clap clap. His voice was not too loud, his demeanor was gentle, and his attitude was in the past. At least after listening to his words, many Uchihas relaxed. "Please subscribe. Inch. Is it Hyuga?" 99. The sound of clapping hands sounded, and when everyone looked, they saw a man with long black hair standing not far away. Beside him, there were about 10 people dressed like him. These people have one characteristic, that is, eyes are white. Chapter 221 Hyuga's Sense of Superiority. Please subscribe. This is naturally Shi Shangyang's arrangement. The reason why Hyuga's people came to receive the Uchihas is due to the common consideration of the 2 families. Hyuga and Uchiha are both giants of pupil technique. After several years of development, Hyuga on Tien Village has become more and more open. Even now, there is a voice among the clan that they can intermarry with outsiders, and there is no objection, the meaning of. In addition, the people of their family are all doing well now. Those who are self-motivated have found their own shining points. Some enter the laboratory for scientific research, some focus on education, and some enter the hospital. Even if it is the most common medical work, you can have a stable life in Tien Village. This is a dream in the past, so these people naturally cherish the present day. After seeing the people of Uchiha, these Hyugas will have a sense of superiority. This, 017, is not a bad thing. With this sense of superiority, it can more quickly promote the integration of Uchihas into Tien Village. After all, when normal people see people who they disliked in the past, they are actually doing better than they are now, and they will definitely feel uncomfortable to some extent. In this way, will these people be more motivated? This is of course obvious. Uchiha Fugaku was in this state of mind at this time. He knew Naruto Hyuga, who used to be in Uchiha Fugaku's heart, but was just a traitor of the Hyuga clan, but now he has become the head of the Hyuga clan on the Tanokura side, and sees his demeanor, and the kind of majesty he naturally showed on his body. It was obvious that this person had become accustomed to his status as the patriarch. This made Uchiha Fugaku somewhat uncomfortable. The change in status was too sudden, and now he has become a role like a guest. Patriarch Fugaku, you can feel at ease when you come here. Tien Village is definitely the most suitable place for Uchiha to live in the ninja world. No one here will covet your Sharingan blood, and no one will care if you are not. In the ninja world, The people here only care about whether their lives can be maintained and whether they can become better. On the way, Naoto Hyuga takes on the job of introducing Tanemura, and at the same time he unravels Uchiha Fugaku. Just like our Hyuga clan, our origin is compared to the Fugaku clan. You know, as Konoha Hyuga traders, we were originally just a branch house. After coming here, we successfully lifted the restrictions of caged bird, and now our clan is there are no more old clan rules in China, and everyone is living for themselves. And many more. Uchiha Fugaku said subconsciously, glanced at Naoto Hyuga's smooth forehead, and frowned. You lifted curse mark. Caged bird? Advertisement. Naoto Hyuga nodded and smiled. That's right, the Hyuga clan in Tanokura, there is no restriction on curse mark. Caged bird. As two rival pupils, Uchiha Fugaku is naturally aware of the role and limitations of caged bird, and it is because of this that he finds it incredible. But then, how do you protect your own white eyes? He asked. Naoto Hyuga smiled brightly and pointed to his eyes. Caged bird is outdated in our opinion, because it is more restrictive than protection. A new spell was created to protect the eyes. A new spell seal? Hyuga Naoto nodded. It is inconvenient to explain to you the specific inconvenience. As long as the Fugaku chief knows that the newly developed curse seal has the same protective effect on the white eye as the caged bird, it is fine without those restrictions. This is Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru. My lord, it was specially developed according to the characteristics of our bloodline. Speaking of this, Naoto Hyuga is a little proud. They were also trying to develop new spells themselves, but the final results were not very satisfactory. In the end, they had to ask Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru for help. And the final result did not disappoint the Hyuga family. The new spell is called the Curse of the Vermilion Bird. The Vermilion Bird is a legend in the ninja world. It is said that this bird will never land. Death will fly in the sky, in stark contrast to caged bird. And this Vermilion Bird spell has the characteristics of curse mark. Caged bird, especially the one that protects Bayan, damage. And this curse mark is under personal control, and no one else has any control. This is what really makes the Hyuga family feel at ease. They are controlled by the feeling that their fate is controlled by others, they have absolute pursuit of freedom, and they will not easily hand over their lives to others. Orochimaru. Uchiha Fugaku nodded slightly, but his heart was shocked. Sure enough, Orochimaru was also recruited by Young-kun. Thinking like this, a group of people entered the village of Tien, and walked from the suburbs to the village. The scenes they saw along the way were different from those of Konoha. The level of prosperity was even higher than that of Konoha. Among the people who came and went, among them 80% are ninjas. Advertisement. I'm curious why there are so many ninjas in the village. Naoto Hyuga asked aloud, seeing Uchiha Fugaku's doubts. Uchiha Fugaku nodded. Naoto Hyuga laughed. Those are not ninjas, in fact, they are just ordinary people in the village. What? Uchiha Fugaku couldn't believe it and said, but the chakra fluctuations on those people are not weak at all, how can they be ordinary people? Yes, occupation, ordinary people can choose to become ninjas, and then after 1 to 2 years of professional training and learning, master the skills of ninjas, they can become ninjas. However, the ninjas in Tanokura are also somewhat different from the outside world. Here at least 2/3 of the ninjas are not in charge of fighting. Naoto Hyuga shook his head. It's a fact that the ninjas in the village who are dedicated to fighting only account for 1/3 of the number of ninjas, or even less. In our case, these people are called professional ninjas, and they are not responsible for anything other than fighting. The treatment is also better than others, but generally there is a time limit for serving. Once the time is up, it will directly transfer to other ninja sequences or retire. Yes, retirement. All occupations in TNG village will retire after reaching a certain age. They will be graded according to their contributions to the village and their work over the years. After retirement, the village will issue pensions. 35. Naoto Hyuga shook his head. This is the truth. It may be the Fugaku patriarch, you misunderstood. The ordinary people in Tien village are different from ordinary people in other parts of the ninja world. The ordinary people here generally master chakra, while the ninjas in the village are not the same, has become a profession. Uchiha Fugaku found another busy spot. Retire? Please subscribe. 3.1 Ninjas don't fight? Naoto-kun, are you kidding? Uchiha Fugaku asked. Profession? Chapter 222 Eye-opening Uchihas, please subscribe. With Naoto Hyuga's narration, Uchiha Fugaku gradually understood the basic situation of Tiano village. The more he understands, the more shocked Uchiha Fugaku is. The same is true for other Uchihas. The duty is to explain the current situation of Tien village to those Uchihas. Uchiha's clansmen felt much less nervous at this time, but with what they saw around and heard in their ears, they gradually gained a basic understanding of Tiano village. Tien village is rich, and this can be seen from the living conditions of the people around. Not to mention that everyone on the street has a smile on their face, but that kind of mental outlook is something they didn't see when they were in Konoha. Yes, it is a kind of high spirits, even if they are Uchiha, they rarely have this feeling. People passing by on the surrounding streets cast curious glances at them from time to time. They did not show surprise or fear because they were dressed in ninja costumes. Some were just curious and inquiring. In their ears, it made them even more at a loss. Have you seen 14? These people are ninjas from other places. With the participation of these people, the village will become stronger. Is it a ninja? That's what it looks like. Many ninjas have come to the village over the years, and it seems that nothing has changed. Idiot, everyone who came to the village was changed by the village. Do you still want the village to be changed by them? 99. That's right, this is Tien village, but it's different from other places. I don't know where they are, but they all seem quite confident. After all, they are ninjas, and I don't know if they will get used to the life here. 35. The general conversation was like this, and it was because of hearing such talk that the Uchihas were even more at a loss. They found that ordinary people here are not afraid of ninjas, they are more just curious, and they have no resistance to them, and they are even welcome. In this state, they really don't understand why. Uchiha Fugaku also felt the same way, and Naruto Hyuga laughed when he saw it. No surprise, this is the norm in the village. Over the past few years, many people have joined the village. Let's just say, almost every day outsiders enter TNG. In the village, some of them are spies who came from other places to obtain information, and these people will be released after their memory is washed away, while others, if they are refugees or immigrants, will be accepted. 39. Aren't you afraid that the information here will be exposed? Uchiha Fugaku finally asked the question that was hidden in his heart until now. Advertisement. Hyuga Naruto shrugged. Why be afraid? Don't underestimate the village. Tien village is different from other places. Anyone will be sensed the first time they enter here. Don't you realize that Tien village is without walls? 35. Uchiha Fugaku turned his head to look where he came from, but he did not see the wall. Why? Because outside the village, there are 9 enchantment seals arranged by Lord Shi Shangyang, which wrap the entire Tien village, and can distinguish whether the entrant is an animal or human, and at the same time can distinguish whether it is a ninja or an ordinary person. No matter which one, every corner will be probed. Uchiha Fugaku's face twitched, and even he could not imagine how to achieve this level of enchantment. Don't wonder, Lord Shi Shangyang's strength is beyond our ability to guess. He is not an ordinary ninja, in my opinion. Lord Shi Shangyang's strength is in all aspects. Uchiha Fugaku is very interested in this, but unfortunately Naruto Hyuga did not talk about Shi Shangyang, but introduced something else. There is Uchiha's clan land, which is specially designated for you by the village, but since you are here, you need to abide by the rules of the village of Tien, and there will be other villagers living in the clan land, so you need to do this as soon as possible. Habit. Uchiha Fugaku's expression changed, and he asked subconsciously, why is there such an arrangement? If you do this, it is not a good choice for the ninja. Naruto Hyuga chuckled lightly. Except for you Uchiha, our Hyuga clan, and the reluctant Uzumaki clan, have all adopted this mixed state. This time, Uchiha Fugaku was even more surprised. In short, after you really understand the country of Tien, you will understand that this mixed state will be of great benefit to the ninja. Especially you Uchiha, if you want to integrate into the village as soon as possible, this step is indispensable. Yes, after all, you also know what your reputation is in Konoha. After you come here, your former pride will soon be dispelled. So you have to get familiar with these as soon as possible. This is considered a connection, and Uchiha Fugaku naturally understands that since the Hyuga clan has done this, then the Uchiha clan has no reason to refuse. Advertisement. Nodding with Zabo Fugaku, Tien Jikun can arrange a new clan land, and it can already be seen that they attach great importance to them, which is quite reassuring. After arriving at the place, Uchiha Fugaku discovered that the new land was bigger than he thought. To what extent? It was 3 times larger than the Uchiha land when he was in Konoha. These belong to Uchiha? He asked. Hyuga Naruto shook his head. No, to be precise, the ninja clan's land. The ninja only has the right to use, but not ownership. The land belongs to the village, but the right to use is in your hands. This point, Uchiha Fugaku doesn't feel anything. In fact, when he was in Konoha, the situation was similar. In other words, in the ninja world, people can use a piece of land in the concept, then this piece of land belongs to the user. Naruto Hyuga didn't explain much about this distinction, which he believed Uchiha would understand later on. Please subscribe. Yes, we will arrange jobs for you according to your respective circumstances. If you don't want to work, the village will not care about you. Then you can do what you want to do by yourself. A kind of preferential treatment. After all, other people who enter the village will not have such treatment. They need to find work by themselves. I see. No one here would call a ninja an adult. Uchiha Fugaku understands. Screening. This is a summary, and Uchiha Fugaku listened to it, but at the same time, he was also a little worried. He was afraid that his people would not be able to change their mentality so quickly. You have a week to deal with your own affairs. After a week, the village will conduct a screening for you. Did you see that there are more than 200 ordinary households in your clan now, and these people will be your neighbors from now on? Arranging them to live here will help you integrate into the village as soon as possible. In short, you need to change your mentality, treat yourself as an ordinary person, because ninja is not a noble existence in Tien village. Chapter 223. The Abandoned Person, for subscription. Konoha. Uchiha Itachi came to the roof of the building after a day's work, and looked at the home of Lord Hokage's crest home from a distance, where 2 boys were chasing all the way from a distance, one with yellow hair and the other with black hair. It can be seen that the 2 children are very happy. The corners of Uchiha Itachi's mouth twitched slightly. He had seen this scene many times, and every time it made him feel very at ease. Now that he has entered Anbu, the daily tasks are very heavy. Only by completing the work as soon as possible will he have time to come here to see his younger brother Sasuke. Seeing the two children entering the door, Uchiha Itachi let out a small breath, glanced in that direction again, and left instantly. Going back as usual, but today is a little different. This feeling has become stronger since entering the Uchiha clan. It seems that the clan has changed a bit, but he can't tell where it has changed. It seems quieter than before. The ninja is very sensitive to the surrounding environment. This change immediately made him vigilant. Uchiha Itachi took out the ninja sword, and walked forward alertly. Question. Saw. He climbed up the wall and looked up, and there was no one in sight. The doors and windows of every household on the street were tightly closed, which was a huge difference from the past. What happened? For some reason, Uchiha Itachi's heart sank slightly, and he always felt that something might have happened in the family today, so he couldn't help speeding up the pace of going back. After a while, he returned home. The sense of quietness made him pause slightly, and then took a deep breath and opened the door. No one at home. With neither father nor mother at home, Uchiha Itachi checked the room and saw 2 letters left on the living room table. Uchiha Itachi opened it, and when he saw it, his hand trembled. Itachi, when you read this letter, your mother and I have already left the village. The beginning of his heart made Uchiha Itachi's heart sink. He took a deep breath and continued to look down with a heavy heart, and his body trembled unconsciously. Advertisement. The content of the letter is roughly the farewell of the father and the son, and told him to protect himself in Konoha, because the father knows the character of his son and knows that he will not leave with the family, so he did not notify him or the like. In short, this matter is made clear. I hope my son will not mind, and the rest are some exhortations. After reading the letter, Uchiha Itachi opened the second one, which was left to him by her mother Uchiha Mikoto. This letter is more of an exhortation, and the rest is a mother's words of guilt to her son. Seeing this, Uchiha Itachi finally shed tears. Why are you leaving? He muttered to himself, closing his eyes slightly. Where did you go? Uchiha Itachi let the tears flow. The feelings are very sincere to Uchiha. Love is love, hate is hate. After seeing these 2 letters, Uchiha Itachi had only one feeling, that he was abandoned by his parents and clansmen. Are you afraid that I will tell the village this news? Uchiha Itachi muttered to himself, his hands trembling slightly while holding the 2 letters. Sure enough, did I do something wrong? Or is it all an illusion? He opened his eyes, and under the strong emotional fluctuations, the Sharingan in his eyes changed. Tomo dissolved like a black smudge, and the city froze, and then the Tomo in his eyes became a Sannin shuriken pattern. If Shi Shangyang were here, he would be amazed at the level of awakening of this child. He actually started Mangekyo under this circumstance. No, he is indeed a genius of the Uchiha family. Am I abandoned? Uchiha Itachi wiped away the tears and closed his eyes slightly, with a wry smile on his face. He didn't hate his parents and clansmen, they had such a choice, and Uchiha Itachi understood it, but that didn't mean he didn't suffer at all. In fact, his pain level is unprecedented now, and being abandoned by the person he loves is impossible to feel good. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi took a deep breath, put away the 2 letters, walked out of the door to the open space in the clan's land, and looked around the clan's land. His expression became calm. The clansmen have their own choices, and I have my own choices. There is no right or wrong, all these are different choices, so this matter needs to be told to Lord Hokage at the first time, and the protection of Sasuke is also can't relax. He knew very well that when the Uchiha clan betrayed Konoha, his situation with Sasuke would be very bad, especially Sasuke. There are not a few people in the village who are hostile to Uchiha, and there are many such people in the high level, and other ninjas. He must protect the safety of his younger brother. This is something that his mother asked. Call. Uchiha Itachi let out a breath, and then the color became firm. Before long, a message spread among Konoha. Konoha's wealthy ninja clan, Uchiha clan, betrayed Konoha, and all the others except Itachi left Konoha silently. This news suddenly made the whole Konoha panic. No one knew what happened, and the senior members of Konoha were all gloomy, feeling that there was something strange in this matter. Uchiha Itachi did not hand over the 2 letters, but immediately informed 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato of the news of the Uchiha clan. They thought about concealing it, but after thinking about it, it became clear that this matter could not be concealed at all. This was the betrayal of the entire Uchiha. In such a large clan, it was already empty, and it was impossible to conceal the news. At this time, Uchiha Itachi found 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato and informed him of his intentions and thoughts. Then these 2 things were discussed together, and finally Konoha's people came to the conclusion that these 2 things were probably done by the same person. The only blame is Shi Shangyang, who covered up the information of the Hyuga clan in Tien village so well that he took away the information of more than 100 people in the Hyuga branch house, and it has not been leaked until now. But after this investigation, they didn't find the slightest clue. It was like seeing a ghost, and everyone's heart was inevitably heavy. Then, the people of the Hyuga clan found their blind spots, and felt that the disappearance of the Uchiha clan was completed silently, just like the movement of Dajou, who defected from their branch house a few years ago. Please subscribe. After that, Namikaze Minato held a high-level meeting to inform the news, and the next thing was straightforward, and everyone in the village knew about it. Now that the Uchiha clan happened, People naturally think of the Hyuga clan at that time, but the first thing to do now is to find the trace of the Uchiha clan. This kind of betrayal, Konoha will never allow it to happen, nor will it may accept. Chapter 224 Itachi betrays Konoha, please subscribe. As soon as the Uchiha family betrayed Konoha, the whole Konoha is now like a burning oil barrel. Not to mention everyone is crazy, but it is also panic. People can't believe it, such a big Uchiha of the family actually disappeared like this, and it did so silently. In this regard, the most stressful is Namikaze Minato, who is Hokage. He can be said to have been sleepless these 2 days. He even left some things in the village to be handled by 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. He personally ran all over the place he knew, but did not find the slightest clue. It was precisely because of this that he felt a burst of horror, knowing that it was obvious that someone was targeting Konoha from behind, but who it was, he didn't know now. But no one is a fool. Konoha has now set his sights on Shi Shangyang. After all, he is too suspicious. As someone who also has Sharingan's blood, other people have no motives, and only he has such motives. He is also a rebel of the village, and has taken Orochimaru away, which makes him even more suspicious. However, they searched and searched, but they couldn't find where the Shi Shangyang people were, and there was no clue at all. Konoha sent a lot of manpower 017 to this end. So far there is still no information in this regard. Namikaze Minato is worried about this, and at this time Uchiha Itachi's arrival makes his heart even more heavy. Because he could see that Uchiha Itachi seemed to have some idea, or a decision, Namikaze Minato was afraid that his decision would conflict with the current decision of the village. Lord Hokage. Uchiha Itachi knelt down on one knee, his expression flat. Namikaze Minato took a deep breath and said with a serious face, Itachi-kun, what's the point of coming to see me? Uchiha Itachi raised his head, stared at Namikaze Minato and said, Lord Hokage, I want to go out to find information about Uchiha, and also about Shi Shangyang in the ninja world. Namikaze Minato frowned. If it was just this kind of plan, Uchiha Itachi could have made an application, and there was no need to find it specifically, which was a bit superfluous. Tell me what you think, Namikaze Minato said. Uchiha Itachi said, I want to betray Konoha. What? Namikaze Minato was startled, and subconsciously wanted to speak, but after thinking about it, he understood Uchiha Itachi's plan. Advertisement, BEDB. Are you trying to pretend to betray Konoha? Namikaze Minato asked. Yes, Lord Hokage. Uchiha Itachi said what was on his mind. The Uchiha clan's betrayal of Konoha will definitely spread throughout the ninja world. At that time, other ninja villages will take action to some extent, but those ninja villages, or some forces, do not know that I have not among Uchiha who defected from Shinobi village, so, this is a poor information. Namikaze Minato understood and pondered. What are you going to do? I want to walk around the ninja world under the name of Betrayal and Ninja, looking for information about this. With the identity of Betrayal and Ninja, I can get access to more things that Konoha Shinobi can't touch, and there may be some of them. Information about Shi Shangyang may also be able to find existing information about the Uchiha clan. In short, this is a good opportunity. Namikaze Minato understands that, and I have to say that what Uchiha Itachi said is indeed a method. Now his status is special. The Uchiha family has collectively betrayed Konoha, but he remains in Konoha. This situation is actually very difficult for him. Unfavorable, everyone's hatred towards Uchiha will hit him in the future. Namikaze Minato is very aware of Uchiha Itachi's feelings for the village, because this child can be said to be the child he grew up with, and his love for Konoha cannot be faked. Perhaps it is because of this that the Uchiha family's betrayal will throw it away. But in this way, if Uchiha Itachi continues to stay in the village as a Konoha shinobi, then Itachi will inevitably be under even greater pressure than before, and everyone's disgust and anger towards Uchiha will inevitably leave Itachi alone except, this is naturally unfair. As Hokage, he has no way to directly interfere, and can only guide from the side, but whether he can express people's emotions in the end depends on the follow-up development. Namikaze Minato has no good way now. Thinking of this, he sighed deeply. Itachi-kun, are you sure you want to do this? You have to understand that once you do, then your reputation in Konoha. You don't need to finish talking, you can understand it if you understand it. Uchiha Itachi's expression was still flat, but he said calmly, yes, I have made up my mind, Lord Hokage, please approve. Namikaze Minato gritted his teeth slightly. To be honest, with his character, it was a little embarrassing for him to give him such an order, but Hokage's responsibility told him that this might be the best way. By doing this, Uchiha Itachi can not only obtain more information in the dark, but also allow the people in the village to transfer their emotions to him. After a long time, this emotion will naturally disappear. Otherwise, Uchiha Itachi has been staying among the leaves, which will make people keep this emotion buried in their hearts, and there may be bad results. Advertisement, I understand. Namikaze Minato took a deep breath, and then said solemnly. Then, in the name of Hokage, I order you, Uchiha Itachi, from now on, you need to bear the name of rebellion and go out to get enough information for the village. There are a limited number of people, and no one else will know your identity. After this, if you encounter a Konoha shinobi, you are likely to be attacked. Are you willing to accept this task? Yes, Hokage-sama, I am willing to accept such a task. 35 Uchiha Itachi said solemnly. It is good. Namikaze Minato nodded slightly, then sighed. Before that, do you have anything else to say? Uchiha Itachi opened his mouth, but said nothing. Namikaze Minato knew him very well, and immediately understood what he was thinking, and said, "Don't worry, I will take good care of Sasuke, this is my promise to you." "Thank you Hokage-sama, that I have nothing to worry about," Uchiha Itachi said. As he spoke, he disappeared instantly. But Uchiha Itachi shook his head. "No, let him live as Namikaze Sasuke, not to bear a heavy surname like Uchiha, it will be a good thing for him." Uchiha Itachi got up and bowed to Namikaze Minato, without looking back. "Kaido, I'll stay in the woods outside the village for 5 minutes. Please subscribe." Uchiha Itachi's meaning is obvious, and he can understand it naturally. Namikaze Minato was silent for a while, then said, "Before leaving, do you want to meet Sasuke? He has the right to know that he has an older brother." 35. Namikaze Minato sighed again and shook his head helplessly. Namikaze Minato was silent for a moment, then took a deep breath and called Anbu's people, and then gave the order to pursue. Chapter 225 Let Shao absorb Uchiha Itachi, please subscribe. Uchiha Itachi defected. After the Uchiha clan defected, he became Uchiha who made clear his intention to defect in front of everyone and made a confrontation at the same time, so the movement was not small. A team of Anbu ninjas went to chase and block, but he was easily defeated, so that they had to increase the manpower to pursue. There were almost 4 Anbu teams, from the forest on the outskirts of Konoha, they chased to more than 10 kilometers, outside. The result was still the same. Uchiha Itachi was not too difficult, he defeated the chasing ninjas one by one, and then did not even choose to kill them, so Shi Shangyang left under the angry eyes of the pursuers. The news spread, and the resentment in the hearts of all those who were dissatisfied with Uchiha was concentrated on him at once. Just as Namikaze Minato thought, Uchiha Itachi's defection by himself directly suppressed the heat of Uchiha's defection. It has become the top stream of Konoha at this time, but this top stream is negative. After that, it was the unspoken process of the two. Konoha immediately announced Uchiha Itachi as a traitor, designated it as an S-level traitor, and notified other shinobi villages. All trails are blocked. After Shi Shangyang learned about this, it was already a week later. At this time, he had returned to Tien village and was dealing with the arrival of Kirigakure Mizukage and his party. "It has been 10 days since the last time I made an appointment with Yagura, and it is not a trivial matter for the shadow of one village to go to another ninja village. Even if the two have already negotiated, the process on the bright side has to go. Once again, up to now, the two sides have negotiated this matter at the official level. Mist Shinobi Mizukage and his party will set off in the near future, and they will arrive in Tien village in a few days. During this period of time, the Uchiha family has gradually become familiar with the life here. Indeed, as Naoto Hyuga introduced, the people here do not care about the Uchiha family. For the people in the village, since they came here, they will be the village in the future. A member of the group, and their attitude towards it is very tolerant. It is this kind of tolerance that makes the Uchiha clan, who have always been a little uneasy, quickly settle down, and at the same time feel the preferential treatment of the village. It was the first time for them to live together with ordinary people, but in a different environment. Even the people of the Uchiha clan had put away their arrogance. In the past few days, getting along with ordinary people has become more difficult. It's normal, not too cold, nor warm at the same time, but it's normal to get along with neighbors, but it makes the people of the Uchiha family feel at ease, a lot. Advertisement, and as they got to know them over the past few days, they discovered that the village of Tien is very large, far bigger than Konoha, and the village of Tien is also very strong. Nearly 80% of the people in the city have chakra, and the remaining 20% are also doing so. And working hard, so to speak, is the national ninja. Even if among these people, the level of master chakra is very low, and it is not even comparable to Genin, but if it is enlarged to the base of 100,000, it is an extremely terrifying force. So far, Uchiha's pride can be said to be gone. The status of ninjas is not high here. People are used to ninjas as a profession. Although Uchiha is not used to it, he has to accept it quickly. Necessary processes for the environment. Fortunately, these Uchihas are not stupid, and they know how to judge the situation. In order to quickly integrate into the village of Daoshin, they are also very active. The Uchiha family is worthy of being a giant in the ninja world. There are thousands of people in a family, and their Chunin people occupy 60%. The number is about 5 or 600. Among these 5 or 600 people, Jonin has nearly 100, and the rest are all it is Chunin and Genin. At the same time, among the 500 or 600 people, 80% of them started Sharingan, and these were the ones that Shi Shangyang liked the most. Nearly 500 people who have Sharingan, if they are properly guided, so that they can exert the ability of Sharingan, it will be a force that can shake the ninja world. Of course, Shi Shangyang doesn't need these people to fight. What he needs is to let these people, like the others in TNG village, show their own initiative, actively cooperate with various researches, or conduct new research on Sharingan. For the development of applications, there will always be various things waiting for them in the future, and they will not be idle. At this time, the pattern of TNG village has changed, especially in the ninja tribe. There are not many ninja tribes in TNG village. Accumulated over the past few years, in addition to the 2 ninja clans, Hyuga and Vortex, there are also other smaller ninja clans. Among these ninja clans, there are only 8 or 90 people, and only 2 or 3. 10 people, more or less some family secrets, can be regarded as providing fresh blood for TNG village. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot seeking flowers. And now that Uchiha has joined, he has immediately become the strongest ninja tribe in Tien Village, and compared the two ninja tribes, Hyuga and Vortex. Advertisement Shi Shangyang doesn't care much about this. As long as he joins Tien Jikun and becomes a member of Tien Jikun, he has to obey the rules. This kind of thing doesn't need to be explained by him, because it is already one of Tien Jikun's iron laws. He didn't think too much about the village. Now that Tien Jikun can have this level, he made it with all his hard work, and he didn't know how much energy he invested in Tien Jikun, so as long as it was determined by him rules, no matter who the people in the village are, they must abide by them. The most surprising thing for Uchiha is that there is actually a Uchiha in Tien Village, the child named Uchiha Sasuke, which makes the whole Uchiha have a lot of interest, especially the Fugaku couple. It's not that he didn't encounter many things during this period, but under the strong power of Shi Shangyang, he couldn't make any waves at all. Over time, the fact that obeying the rules is an iron law has become more and more popular. Shi Shangyang really wanted to know, if Uchiha Itachi didn't really defect, then in the future he would know that the organization he joined also belonged to Shi Shangyang. How would the baby react? And the expression on his face would be very interesting, right? Shi Shangyang doesn't know what happened, and he doesn't care about it. What he cares more about now is the arrival of Miss Shinobi, and the other is about Uchiha Itachi's defection. He always felt that Uchiha Itachi's defection at this point in time would be similar to the situation in the original plot. It was not a real defection, but a kind of protection for the village and his younger brother Sasuke. Please subscribe. Inch. So Shi Shangyang gave orders to the Shao organization to send someone to contact Uchiha Itachi, and by the way absorb it into the organization. The two even asked Shi Shangyang, hoping to hand over the child to them to raise, but Shi Shangyang rejected this kind of thing and asked them to go to Lin to discuss it directly. He would not interfere in such a thing. Chapter 226 Send Orochimaru to pick up people. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang has been in the ninja world for so long and has changed many things, but now it is inexplicable. Uchiha Itachi actually betrayed Konoha at this point in time, and with the order he gave, Uchiha Itachi joined the Shao organization, and the plot inexplicably returned to the original point, which made Shi Shangyang have to sigh. It is really unpredictable. He doesn't care much about this kind of thing, because he knows what Uchiha Itachi wants to do, and at this stage, Tien Jimura is no longer afraid of those trivial things, just want. Now that Tanokura's strength is almost accumulated, inviting Miss Shinobi Mizukage to come is the beginning of Tanokura to reveal himself. Shi Shangyang didn't pay much attention to Uchiha Itachi's affairs. After finishing the arrangement, he focused on receiving Mizukage and his party. The ninja world is not big, but it is not, 047, small. From the country of water to the country of Tien, you have to go through a period of sea journey in the middle, and then land from the country of Tang, and you can enter TNG only after passing through the country of Tang. 2/3 of the country is land and water, and the rest is land. What Tien Jikun needs to be responsible for is the safety of the remaining 1/3 of the land. Fortunately, this is not too difficult for Tien Jikun, just because in the past few years, Shi Shangyang has already completely controlled it. The country of Tien, incidentally, also secretly controlled the neighboring country of Tang. Unlike the control of the land, the control of the land of the soup was not carried out on the bright side, but sent people to pretend to be trading companies. It is not as simple as 1 or 2, but more than 10 trading companies. The things they sell cover life. In all respects, it is complete economic control. Coupled with the ninja power he possesses, even if only a small number of ninjas are sent, the latter is simply powerless to resist against the land of soup. Among the upper echelons of Tang Zhiguo, Shi Shangyang bought the Tang Zhiguo daimyo, various money transfers, coupled with forced deterrence, although the current Tang Zhiguo daimyo is not a mascot, but it controls Tang Zhiguo. Strength is also greatly reduced. Under such circumstances, what the country of Tang will look like in the future is just a thought of Shi Shangyang. Therefore, there is no need to worry too much about the safety of Mizukage and his party after landing. What's on the north side of Soup Country? Naturally, it is the land of thunder. The people from Cloud Shinobi are indeed lunatics. They are extremely belligerent, and they also like to subdue others by force. To say who was the most arrogant during the Third Ninja War, it would be only this group of lunatics from the land of thunder are left. Therefore, one should be careful. In order to welcome Miss Shinobi and his party, Shi Shangyang still had to send special personnel to meet him. Advertisement. As for the candidate, there is exactly such a person in the village. Tien Village, among the underground experimental bases. After rounds of expansion, the underground of TNG Village has long been different from what it used to be. Except for a limited number of people in the village, no one else knows how many secret spaces there are, and even how big the underground space is. There were not many people in the village who said it clearly. Of course, Shi Shangyang was not among them. He turned left and right around, and came to the door of a heavily guarded underground laboratory. He directly lifted the special seal outside the door and walked in. His arrival naturally disturbed the person who was experimenting inside. This person was none other than Orochimaru. Orochimaru was naturally unhappy when someone disturbed the experiment. If it wasn't for Shi Shangyang, Orochimaru would definitely punish him, but when he saw that it was Shi Shangyang, his face was only gloomy. By the way, you stay underground all day long, don't you really plan to go upstairs to see it? How long has it been since you paid attention to the changes in the village? Shi Shangyang asked with a smile. Did you come here just to say this? Orochimaru asked angrily. Even though he was upset, Orochimaru still put down the things he was doing. He knew very well that Shi Shangyang would not disturb him under normal circumstances. Since he was here, it would definitely mean that he had something important to do. This is the tacit understanding between Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, who can be said to know each other best. Shi Shangyang chuckled. Of course not, this time I have a task for you. Orochimaru was still upset. He said, my current experiment is very important. If it's not something very important, don't bother me. 35. Shi Shangyang didn't care about his attitude. He nodded slightly when he heard the words. I know, it won't take long for you, so let go of the experiment at hand and go to the country of Tang to help me pick up a few people. Orochimaru frowned. Pick up someone? Who needs you to come and pick me up? Shi Shangyang shook his head helplessly. So, you should pay attention to the situation of the village to some extent. Don't you know that the village needs to be exposed to the public now? 35. Advertisement. Orochimaru thought for a while, then narrowed his eyes and said, have you made up your mind? Shi Shangyang nodded. The power of the village has already accumulated to a certain extent, and it is unnecessary to continue to hide it, so it is inevitable to take advantage of this opportunity to cast the name of TNG Village. 99. Orochimaru didn't ask too much. Although he didn't care, he actually knew the current situation of the village. Even if he thought about it sometimes, he couldn't help being surprised. Who would have thought that a village established by Konoha's rebellion would eventually develop to the point where it could rival the 5 major ninja villages, or even surpass it in strength? It is precisely because of this that Orochimaru feels that Shi Shangyang is indeed a talent, a kind of all-rounder. Not only is his personal strength incomparable, but also the handling of political affairs and the cultivation of forces are top-notch. One of the reasons why Orochimaru can feel at ease regardless of foreign affairs is also because of this. It is only because Shi Shangyang has served him so well, and his support can no longer be said in all directions. We'll find a way to get such a collaborator. It is simply the dream of experimenters. Shi Shangyang explained a little, and then said, the specific situation is like this. In short, I am very optimistic about Miss Shinobi. 39. Orochimaru was slightly surprised. Why did Miss Shinobi's people come to the village? So Shi Shangyang assigned him a task, and he didn't actually resist. Orochimaru grinned, looking somewhat inexplicable. That is to say, your next plan is to swallow Miss Shinobi? 99 feet? Shi Shangyang shrugged. How do you know if you don't do it? Shi Shangyang pouted, shook his head and said, it's hard to say swallowing Miss Shinobi, but it's still necessary to develop them into our own people. Please subscribe. 3.1 Seeing that he had no objection, Shi Shangyang said, I need you to take someone to the country of soup, and pick up the Mizukage group from Miss Shinobi. This matter is quite important, you don't make any mistakes. He. Are you sure you can make it? Chapter 227 Mizukage is coming, please subscribe. The country of soup, the outer port. The land of soup is located in the north of the ninja world, bordering the land of frost and the land of thunder further north. The whole is like a stick leg. To the east of this part is the coastline, and to the east across the vast sea is the land of water. The outer port is the land where Miss Shinobi and his party are going to land this time. Today is almost the day that Miss Shinobi and his party's boat docked. On the big boat, among the people of Miss Shinobi, Yagura, a small citrus orange, stood on the bow, beside his subordinates, and 3 children who looked like 5 or 6 years old. Citrus Yagura asked the people around him, how long will it take to arrive? There are not too many people who came with him this time, there are more than 30 people to say the least. After all, the shadow of a village is still the shadow of a big ninja village like Miss Shinobi. The defense force is still very important, especially if you have experienced in the Third Ninja War. Miss Shinobi also lost the 3 tails, so he had to protect his own shadow. It was Terumi Mei who answered his words, and she was also one of the invitees this time. She heard the words and said, there are still more than 2 hours left, and the coastline will soon be visible. Yuzu Yagura nodded slightly, then suddenly said after a moment of silence, how do you feel about Taito Yoichiro? This question was a bit abrupt, but Terumi Mei still understood what he meant, and after thinking about it after hearing the words, she said, not bad. Just not bad. Yagura was surprised. Terumi Mei smiled slightly. I can feel his sincerity, but this sincerity seems to be deliberately disguised, so his feeling to me is actually quite complicated. Goji Yagura nodded, he understood what Terumi Mei meant, and said with a chuckle. That person is not a simple person, who can develop a small village to the level it is now, let alone an ordinary person. So what is Mizukage-sama planning? Terumi Mei asked. Goji Yagura was silent for a moment, then said, are you planning to? Befriending Tianji-kun is the right choice. Over the years, without Tianji-kun's economic support, the village would not have recovered so quickly. Not bad development. However, I think Taito Yoichiro seems to have other ideas, but he didn't say it clearly, and it is difficult for the village to analyze his real intentions. Terumi Mei's smile remained unchanged. Looking at the distant skyline, she asked, Mizukage-sama needs me to do something? However, Yagura changed the subject and asked, looking at Yoichiro Taito, he seems to be very concerned about you. 35. Cuckoo. Terumi Mei covered her mouth and smiled brightly. Is Mizuguchi-sama also admitting my charm? I'm really happy. Advertisement. Goji Yagura shook his head. If you can, don't cut off your contact with Taito Yuichiro, 99. Ah, if he were to come true, it would be hard for me to resist, you know. A man like him is a very rare existence, and for us women, it is the perfect marriage goal. 35 Terumi May Road. If that's the case, I will support you to do so, Yagura said. Ah, really? Really? Terumi May's expression was a little impatient, and she couldn't tell whether it was true or false on her face. She could only say that women are sometimes born to act. Yagura said, if you can really get together with him, it will be a good thing for the village. Mist Shinobi needs such a friend now. Without the tail beast, Mist Shinobi has a lot less deterrence. It is fatal to Dawn Ninja Village. If we can win Taito Yuichiro to our side, then our pressure will be reduced a lot. Terumi May tapped her lips with a light white finger, as if she was thinking about something, and then smiled slightly. It's really unpleasant to be contaminated with other things like feelings. Yuju Yagura shook his head helplessly. You are the ninja of the village, there's no way to do this kind of thing. Is that so? Then I see. Mizuguchi-sama. Yagura fell silent. Terumi May didn't say anything more, and the topic was over. After a while, someone reminded, Mizuguchi-sama, you can already see the coastline. Hearing the words, Yagura raised his eyes and looked at it. Sure enough, he could see a dim light in the sky and earth in front of him. He nodded and said, everyone, get ready and come as planned after landing. In addition, Tien-ji-kun will also send manpower. Come and meet us, and there will be no confusion at that time. Yes, Mizuguchi-sama. The crowd responded, and Yagura said to Terumi May, take those 3 little guys with you, 39. Terumi May nodded, then waved to the 3 children. Among the 3 children, 2 were very silent, and the other had his hands behind his head, looking around from time to time, his mouth full of sharp teeth like rasps, and he had a long personality. Hey, Terumi May-sama, have we reached the place yet? The child said. Terumi May patted the child's head and said with a smile, don't worry, kid from Ghost Lantern's house, didn't you see that kid from Kaguya's house and kid from Mizuno-yuki's house didn't say anything? 35. Advertisement. Shout, these 2 guys don't speak all the way, they're just like dumb, very boring. The kid from the Ghost Lantern family said. Terumi May just clicked the child's forehead with her finger and then said, that's right, I haven't seen you talking all the way, so how about you introduce yourself? The child who spoke just now grinned and pointed at himself with his thumb. My name is Gaidong Shueui, and I am the younger brother of my brother, Guide Manue. What a stinky bee asterisk 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 d. Terumi May smiled, then looked at the other 2 little guys. One of them, 047, is very handsome, with black hair, like a little girl, and speaks softly. My name is Bai. The last child was silent, with a cold expression on his face, and just said calmly, my name is Kimimaro. Terumi May patted her forehead helplessly when she heard this, turned her head to Mizukura and asked, Mizuguchi-sama, where did these 3 little devils come from? They all have such weird personalities. Hey, are you talking bad about me? Gaidong Shueui shouted. Snapped. Terumi May gave him a brain break. Shikora said, they are all very talented children in the village. Kimimaro was brought by me from Kaguya's house, and this child was regarded as a monster by them. 35. Then he shook his head. It should be said that the people in that family are all people with abnormal brains. Such a child will be buried in their home if he is placed in their home. Is that so? Is this a little girl? Terumi May pointed to Shiro and asked. Yuju Yagura denied. No, he is a boy, he is a descendant of the Snow Clan, and he has awakened the blood descendant. Yeah, in this way, wouldn't there be 2 blood successor owners among the 3 little guys? Are you really willing to let these 3 children take over the village of Tien Village? 5. Yagura nodded. I really want to see if Tien Jamura can educate these 3 children. Their educational style is very curious. Chapter 228 Orochimaru comes forward, please subscribe. Is that so? Terumi May wondered. As Mizuguchi's Yagura, he has more information in this regard. He has a general understanding of TNG Village, and he knows that the education in this village is very characteristic. It seems that students are not the first to become ninjas. It is to fully develop the characteristics of students so that they can develop according to their own ideas. On this point, Utachi Yagura felt that the educational concept of Tianjimura was much more advanced than that of Mist Shinobi, and it was precisely because of this that he decided to bring 3 talented children from Mist Shinobi to come here, just to see it. Let's see if these 3 children can have a special growth in Tien Village. Terumi May thought for a while. If that's the case, wouldn't the 3 children sent by Tanokura come to Mist Shinobi? Citrus Yagura smiled slightly. You don't need to care about this kind of thing. That's right, it's just a communication in itself. Terumi May nodded in agreement. Citrus Yagura glanced at Terumi May, her smile remained the same, and seemed to agree with her statement. It's really just an exchange. It doesn't matter whether the education is advanced or not. What matters is the exchange between the 2 villages. As time passed, the coastline became bigger and bigger in everyone's sight, and it became more and more obvious. The big ship gradually sailed towards the coastline, and soon saw the harbor and the ships moored in the harbor. Due to the productivity of the ninja world, These ships are not large, so the arrival of the big ship Mist Shinobi immediately surprised the people in the harbor, especially after seeing the sign of Mist Shinobi. Many people were even more afraid. Mist Shinobi is one of the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world, and it is also the only ninja village that is isolated overseas. This seaport is the only seaport in the surrounding area, and it is also the place where Mist Shinobi ships often dock. Naturally, you know Mist Shinobi, of power. The arrival of the big ship with the Mist Shinobi logo, at least it means that this ship has Kirigakure ninjas, which is definitely not a good thing for ordinary people on the harbor. When the big ship docked, the people on the harbor started to work conscientiously and did not dare to lift their heads, for fear of angering the ninja adults on the ship, and thus suffering unwarranted disasters. Fortunately, the people on Mist Shinobi's side didn't pay attention to it, and they didn't care at all. Mizukage and his group got off the boat and saw a group of people standing on the harbor in the distance. Those people dressed differently from the others on the pier. One can see the difference at a glance. Is it them? Terumi May asked. Citrus Yugura looked at it, and then led someone over there. Lord Mizukage, according to the information sent by Tien Village, the person opposite is here to meet us, one person said. Advertisement. Citrus Yugura nodded. Soon, the two sides came to each other, and Mist Shinobi and his party saw the real appearance of this group of people. Wearing a small flower forehead protector that marks the village of Tien, and a normal ninja vest on his body, the first person turned his back to them, which made Mist Shinobi and his party a little unclear, but they felt inexplicably being ignored. Everyone from Tanokura, this is our Mist Shinobi's Mizukage-sama, one person introduced. There were more than a dozen people from Tien Jikun's side, and the number was not comparable to Mist Shinobi's group, but all of them had a calm and steady expression, and they were obviously not ordinary people. The man turned around, with a smile on his pale face, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he looked at Mizukage Yugura, his voice hoarse. Welcome guests from afar, let me introduce myself, I'm Genin from Tien Village, Orochimaru, in charge of receiving the guests of your village this time. He was very polite, and what he said in the scene was fine, but it made the expressions of Yugura and others change, especially Yugura, who kept his eyes fixed on Orochimaru, and his expression was full of alertness. Not only him, but other people even more so, and some people have already drawn their weapons subconsciously. It seems that you have heard my name, so it's just right, I don't need to say anything more. Everyone in Mist Shinobi, come with me. The distance behind is not short. I hope everyone in Mist Shinobi can follow me on Orochimaru Road. And many more. Yugura opened his mouth, keeping his guard up, and said solemnly, Orochimaru, you are Konoha's traitor, why are you here? Orochimaru used his tongue to add his lower lip, and his smile was very dark, but those who knew him knew that he was very happy at this time, but this kind of smile fell into the eyes of others, but it was a bit scary, and it always made people think that this guy is not about to come up with any conspiracy. Didn't that guy tell you about this kind of thing? Orochimaru asked rhetorically. What? Yugura said. I already cooperated with that guy a long time ago, and now my identity is Genin of Tien Village, responsible for the work of the scientific research class, Orochimaru said. Yugura's eyes narrowed slightly, and he could hear something from Orochimaru's words. Tien Village Genin, in charge of the scientific research class, how to see Orochimaru, this guy is a high level in Tien Village. Advertisement. Orochimaru suddenly said, I almost forgot, that guy asked me to pass this letter to Mizukage-sama. 5. With that said, he took out a letter from the ninja bag and handed it to Yugura. The latter took it over and opened it to see that the letter was written by Shi Shangyang wearing Taito Yoichiro's waistcoat. It mainly explained the situation, the identity of Orochimaru, and the follow-up reception. After reading it, Yugura closed the letter and stared at Orochimaru with a frown, as if thinking about something. Mizukage-sama, is there something wrong with my identity? Or is it that Kirigakure, who is also one of the 5 great ninja villages, is going to capture me and go to Konoha to receive the reward? Orochimaru asked with a smile. I don't have that kind of interest. Yugura snorted coldly. Of course he couldn't do such a thing. Mist Shinobi and Konoha are not cooperative. There is no reason to help Konoha. Even if you catch Orochimaru, it won't do them any good, and don't said to be caught. When the time comes, if they really start, what losses will be lost on their side? After all, Orochimaru is a dangerous person in the world of ninjas. Then, Zhao, Lord Mizukage, can we go on our way now? Orochimaru asked. Citrus Yugura said. I need to make sure. What do you want to be sure about Mizukage-sama? Citrus Yugura said. Why, are you from Tien Village? This kind of thing. I seem to have explained it just now. I have cooperated with that guy a long time ago, so I am from Tanokura, so it is not difficult to understand, right? 35. Orochimaru said. Is that so? I understand. Let's go. Yugura seems to be very decisive. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter. The main thing is to find out Orochimaru's attitude. If he really obeys Taito Yoichiro, there are a lot of things that can be analyzed in the middle. At this time, Yugura's evaluation of Shi Shangyang vs Taito Yoichiro has been improved by another level. Everyone, please come with me. 99 Chapter 229 The Shock of Mizukage, please subscribe. The group of people had different thoughts. Fortunately, there were no accidents on the way. It was just that Mist Shinobi and his group were always a little worried about the existence of a rebel like Orochimaru in the group. Orochimaru, in short, is too alert. Orochimaru knew this but didn't say anything because he didn't care about it at all. After about 4 or 5 days of effort, the group finally reached the Land of Fields and entered the Land of Fields. The people of Mist Shinobi immediately felt the difference from other places. In the ninja world, other Guojias are similar, not to mention the same, but they are all similar in pattern. One Guojia has a village, and other places in Guojia are also villages or cities, which is roughly the case. Tianjia is a little different in this respect. Although it is also the basic layout of villages and cities, it is different from the poverty of cities and villages in other Guojia. Even the smallest villages in Tianjia appear to be very prosperous. This can be said to be an eye-opener for Mist Shinobi and his party. Along the way, they have seen villages and cities in the country of soup, and found that the foundation of a small country is still too poor, and it is not comparable to a big country like the country of water. One point is normal in their cognition. But after seeing the wealth of Tianjia, this normal cognition was broken by 047. Along the way, they saw that the smallest villages were better than the cities in the Land of Water. They did not say that the small villages were more prosperous than the cities, but they compared various aspects and came to a strange conclusion. It seems that the fields people from other countries have a greater sense of identity with the place they are in. People in a small country and a small village actually have a sense of identity with the small country they live in. At this point, even a big country like the country of water cannot do it. Among the ninja world, there is a sense of identity with the place where they live. It is the 5 great ninja villages, followed by the other small ninja villages. It's the people in other areas who don't care about where they are at all, they only care about whether they can eat enough tomorrow, just such a simple and unpretentious wish. The difference is very subtle, but Yagura, as Mizukage, can clearly feel the gap between the two Guojia. This gap is not only material wealth, but also whether people can unite. Obviously, Tianjia has achieved this, which is something that Yagura had never imagined before coming here. Mizukage-sama seemed surprised. Orochimaru asked with a low smile, observing this. After getting along for a few days, Yagura knew that Orochimaru's personality was like this, and the whole person looked gloomy. He didn't intend to target them. Hearing the words, he said, "It's really surprising, how did you do it?" Advertisement. Orochimaru grinned and added his lower lip. "This kind of thing, you should ask that guy yourself. This kind of thing is not something I need to care about, but..." "But what?" Yagura asked. Orochimaru said, "One thing I can tell you, that guy is a genius, a guy to follow." This kind of evaluation is already high, at least it surprises Yagura. "That is to say, are you also his follower?" Orochimaru didn't care about this kind of problem, nodded and said, "It can be said that it is more reassuring to be a companion with a guy like that. It turns out that, in this case, I am even more curious." The group did not have many conversations along the way, and most of the time they were on their way in silence. Such conversations were not carried out a few times. When the time came to the next day, the group finally appeared outside Tianji village. Shi Shangyang had already greeted him outside the city ahead of time. He paid enough attention to Mist Shinobi and his party, which was related to his future plans and should not be missed. "Meet again, Yagura-kun," Shi Shangyang spoke first. "Long time no see, Ichiro-kun," Yagura responded. The two sides did not exchange much chat outside the city, and Shi Shangyang took the people into the village of Tien. When they got here, Mist Shinobi and his party really felt the difference and shock. In their imagination, Tien Nomura may be better than Kirigakure, at most rich, but it is definitely not as good as Kirigakure in other aspects. But after seeing Tien Nomura, they realized how ridiculous their thoughts were. Advertisement. There is no comparison between Kirigakure and Tien village at all. One is a town, and the other is a city. The size is not equal. The latter is several times larger than the former. It is countless times more beautiful and spectacular than Mist Shinobi, and the gap between the two cannot be expressed in words. Just like the villagers entering the city, the dazzling things in their sight can't be seen at all, even the citrus tangerine Yagura. The heart is a little shaken at this time. This is purely visual crushing. As long as this normal person can understand, Tien village is much stronger than Mist Shinobi. "How is it? Do you still like it here?" Shi Shangyang asked. Goji Yagura sighed slightly, and then said, "I have already imagined TNG village to be very powerful, but after I really saw it, I realized that my imagination was still too limited before. Having said that, such a place, really are you building from scratch?" Shi Shangyang chuckled and said, "It is indeed the case. After several years of hard work, I have achieved this result, but this has not yet met my psychological expectations. In my vision, the entire country of Tien should be urbanized, so next, I plan to expand Tien village several times, and establish at least 10 medium-sized cities in Tien country." Yuju Yagura opened his mouth slightly. If he had heard such words before he came, he would have thought that he was only joking, but after seeing Tien Jamura, he realized that this was the reality, and Shi Shangyang didn't say any big words at all. It is a statement of its own ideas, and the key is quite convincing. "No wonder Tanemura has always made me feel rich. I admire you, Ichiro. Do you think Mist Shinobi can do this?" asked Yagura. Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly, and instead of answering directly, he whispered to the person beside him, who quickly left and came back after a while with an item he bought from a nearby store in his hand. Shi Shangyang finally inserted it into Terumi Mei's hair and smiled. This hair accessory is very suitable for you. I gave it to you. I hope you like it. With a frown, Yagura didn't dwell on this issue, and then carefully observed the buildings he saw on the road. Terumi Mei smiled, reached out and touched the hair accessories on her head, and said to Shi Shangyang, "Why didn't you buy it for me?" Shi Shangyang shrugged. "It's just a small thing, I have something better for you." "What is it?" Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "Keep it a secret first, and soon you will know." Chapter 230 The Terrible Potential of TNG Village. Subscribe. It took almost an hour for the group to reach the boss building in the city. The reason why it took so long is because TNG Village is large enough. Imagine, a fourth-tier city like Shi Shangyang before crossing, walking from outside the city to how long does it take to be in the center of the city, and it's the same situation in TN Village. Along the way, Mist Shinobi has opened their eyes. I don't know how much there are to eat and play. The business is booming and the people are rich. What shocks them even more is the obvious chakra fluctuations on the pedestrians. Almost everyone has it. This alone is enough to make people feel shocked. The chief building has also been renovated and expanded a lot. Shi Shangyang placed everyone in a special meeting room. Of course, he just took a break here for a while, and the follow-up placement has already been prepared. And Yagura, the citrus orange, also asked what she wanted to know the most, one thing. When I came here just now, the villagers I saw seemed to have chakra fluctuations in their bodies. I would like to know this aspect. Are all the people in TNG Village already masters, chakra? Shi Shangyang smiled and explained. Everyone's words are a bit exaggerated, but now the number of master chakra in the city accounts for 80% of the total number, and this number is still increasing. 35. Some of the Mist Shinobi group took a deep breath. As ninjas, they naturally understand the importance of chakra, so they are even more aware that not everyone can master chakra. It depends on talent, and 80% of the population in a city has master road chakra. What kind of power is this? It is precisely because of this that Mist Shinobi is shocked and incredible. Yagura couldn't help but slightly widened his eyes. Even Mizukage was shocked by such news. Is what you said true? He asked subconsciously. Shi Shangyang nodded. As for this point, you can go to verify it yourself in the future. I naturally don't need to deceive you. Yagura nodded silently, not knowing what she was thinking. Terumi Mei asked, how did you do it? Yagura also looked at Shi Shangyang. He also wanted to ask this question, but because of Mizukage's identity, it was difficult to ask this question out. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang said. Speaking of which, this is the result of several years of hard work. From the very beginning, I decided to take this path, so I invited Orochimaru from Konoha to develop together about making ordinary people reality. Also can master chakra's medicine. Hearing this, Yagura's heart moved, and from Shi Shangyang's words, he knew the reason why Orochimaru would be in Tien Village. The result? He asked. The result is now, that drug has been successfully developed, but I am not particularly satisfied, and I feel that there is still the possibility of further optimization, but it will take some time to explore. Hearing this, Yagura nodded, saying that it is false to say that he is not interested. For a ninja village, especially one of the 5 ninja villages like Kirigakure, if ordinary people are also master chakra, then the ninjas in the village will not be able to. The number will increase linearly. In that case, the power of the village will naturally increase. The ninja world is like this. Many times, the number of ninjas represents the strength of the village. The reason why Konoha was able to hold the first place after 3 ninja wars is that they surpassed the number of ninjas. Other ninja villages are a piece. As the number of ninjas increases, the chances of appearing geniuses also increase, and often the appearance of a genius will make the village go further in a certain area. In this respect, it is like Sannin of Konoha, Konoha's White Fang, or 3rd Kazekage of Sand Shinobi, or 3rd Raikage of Cloud Shinobi, all of which can increase the power of Shinobi Village by themselves. So basically, the number of ninjas represents everything in Ninja Village, and it is also the foundation of Ninja Village. But now, the number of ninjas in Tien Village is terrifying to Yagura. Under that number, how many geniuses will be born and what kind of power will erupt, he can't even imagine. It is precisely because of this that Yagura Tachibana understands the real power of Tien Village, and makes a comparison in his heart, and then regretfully finds that if there is a war in Tien Village, Mist Shinobi will have no chance of winning. Seeing Yagura's silence, Shi Shangyang didn't say anything. He knew what Yagura was thinking at this time. As a shadow of the village, he now found that there was a force in front of him that the village could not overcome, which naturally made people feel frustrated. The others were equally shocked. There was some silence in the field. Anyone with a clear mind could understand what Shi Shangyang said. Katakana middle. Ask for flowers. Katakana middle. Terumi Mei also rarely put away the bright color. Her pretty face was full of awe. She opened her mouth slightly, and after a moment of hesitation, she said, can Kirigakure get this medicine? Advertisement. The Mist Shinobi ninjas who were present actually all had this idea in their hearts, and even the more radical ones were already thinking in secret, whether they could take this opportunity to get this drug, or if they could get it. Intelligence. Don't be surprised. This is the normal way of doing things for ninjas. Spying on information, stealing information, etc., are already commonplace for ninjas. Shi Shangyang shook his head and refused outright. Sorry, this is Tien Jamura's secret, so it won't be rumored. 0. He said this kind of thing on purpose, naturally, in order to arouse the greed of these people. Yuju Yagura shook his head slightly and sighed. It's really amazing, no wonder TNG-kun can develop so fast, you are really surprising. Shi Shangyang smiled. It's overrated, I just didn't think about building a village like other ninja villages from the very beginning. Yagura is interested. What kind of village do you want to build? He was really interested, he was Mizukage, he was in charge of all aspects of Mist Shinobi, and he didn't mind learning anything that would help Kirigakure be strong. Shi Shangyang's smile remained unchanged. From the very beginning, I decided on one thing, the village I built. Ninja is just a profession, and will no longer be the fundamental force that determines the strength of the village. Now it seems that what I have done not bad. Yagura understood this and said, you mean to build a village where everyone can master chakra, and then turn ninjas into ordinary jobs? Shi Shangyang nodded and gave him full marks for his understanding. In the past, when explaining his thoughts to others, he would inevitably explain a few more words. As expected, as a village warrant, he should look at things in a higher and broader way than ordinary people. That's right, Tien Village does not adopt a task system, and ninjas do not earn commissions for their livelihoods. In Tien Village, ninjas receive fixed wages and bonuses. More. Chapter 231 Mist Shinobi's Guess, please subscribe. Yudachi Yagura also had to admit that the other party's words had a certain ideal color, but after seeing Tien Jimura, he found out what kind of powerful ability and talent the other party had to realize this idea. At this moment, he inexplicably thought of a person, Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas who ended troubled times. In his heart, Yagura's evaluation of Taito Yoichiro has been improved by another level, and at the same time, his attention has been improved. Especially what the other party said, the drug that can make ordinary people become master chakra, even if he is a good friend, he will inevitably be tempted after hearing the news. Shi Shangyang didn't seem to think about continuing this topic, so he smiled and said, it's almost there, let's have someone take you to where you live first, for you. I can have someone rebuild a building specially, I hope you are here the 047, who can live there are happy. In fact, Yagura has a lot to ask and a lot to learn. He is very curious about Tien Village. As a ninja, he subconsciously wants to get more information in this situation. It's a pity that Shi Shangyang didn't give him this chance, so he ended the topic directly. Yagura could only feel regret, and then smiled. So, I'll be bothering you. Shi Shangyang waved his hand. Don't be so polite, Yagura-kun, take a good rest first, I will take you to another place tomorrow. I hope you will have a better understanding of Tien Jimura. Citrus Yagura's eyes lit up, which was exactly what he wanted. Okay, then it's settled. Well, it's settled. Shi Shangyang said, nodded to Terumi Mei, and then left first, and the rest of the matter was handled by a special person, so he didn't need to worry about it. He went directly to the underground laboratory. Orochimaru got into the laboratory as soon as he came back. Since Shi Shangyang's full support, this guy has basically never seen the sun except for the fixed religious time, he didn't even see the sun at all, will not go out. Is it arranged? Orochimaru asked after seeing Shi Shangyang's arrival. Shi Shangyang nodded and said, tomorrow, I will bring Yagura to the laboratory to visit the laboratory. You should sort it out in advance and don't leak sensitive information. Advertisement, although I don't know what you're thinking about, but you don't have to worry about it. You can just take him to the number 7 laboratory tomorrow, and the experiment over there is just about to end, Orochimaru said. Lab number 7? Shi Shangyang thought for a while, then asked, is it the experiment of changing the shape of the spell seal? Orochimaru is the head of many laboratories in the underground base. In the absence of orders from Shi Shangyang, Orochimaru has the right to carry out any experiments according to his own ideas. In this regard, Shi Shangyang rarely imposes restrictions, which is roughly stalking. Of course, there are very few restrictions, not never restrictions. For example, this guy once wanted to conduct a special maternal experiment, and wanted to shorten the time of the baby in the belly of a pregnant woman. Shi Shangyang rejected this kind of experiment. In some respects, Shi Shangyang still has the most basic ethics, and it is fortunate that Shi Shangyang is in charge, otherwise, I still don't know how much Orochimaru has to let go of himself. Yes, that is the experiment of the transformation of the spell, Orochimaru nodded. Well, I remembered, it's about the change of animal form, right? Orochimaru confirmed with a smile. Shi Shangyang thought about it for a while, and then said, also, you don't have to worry about the information leakage of the curse seal. The animalization experiment has its own characteristics, and it can just be shown to them as a visiting project. Orochimaru grinned, but still asked the doubts in his heart. So, Yang-kun, what are you going to do? Is it so simple to just invite Mizukage to come here to see? Shi Shangyang shrugged. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to spread the name of TNG-kun. After all, the power has been accumulated now, and if we continue, it will be easily exposed, so it is better to stand up directly. More than that, I remember you said before that you were very interested in the land of water. 35 Orochimaru asked again. Shi Shangyang nodded. Yes, don't you think that the geographical location of the country of water is very good? It can be attacked and retreated, and it can be defended. It is isolated overseas, but it is connected to the land of the ninja world. Orochimaru thought about it and couldn't help grinning. I see. 35 advertisement. Although Orochimaru usually doesn't care much about things in the village, but honestly speaking, his current sense of identity with Tien Village is actually not low. Here he feels the respect that he did not have in Konoha. The special respect for researchers, this kind of atmosphere is something he has never felt before. In short, it's just an idea for the time being. It depends on whether Yagura will cooperate or not. In my opinion, there is still a lot to do. Orochimaru snorted and said, if it was someone else, I would think he was whimsical, but if it was you, Yang-kun, I would think your plan would be successful. Really? Huh, I didn't expect you, Orochimaru, to have such confidence in me. Confidence? Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly. It's just an idea, who knows if it will come true in the end. 35. HMPH, then I wish you success. The conversation between the two ended, Shi Shangyang left, and today's affairs came to an end. On the other side, among the residences of Mist Shinobi and his party, this is a newly built building, which is specially used to receive guests of Tien Village. It was built by Shi Shangyang according to the star-rated hotel before the crossing. Of course, it may not reach the 5-star standard, but it is unique in the ninja world. It has various precious decorations, and the decoration is not luxurious, but it is definitely second to none in the ninja world. After Mist Shinobi and his party came here, they opened their eyes again. They did not expect that their residence would look like this, but they were a little surprised. Tachibana Yagura was sitting in the living room of the suite with a few people who were with him. A few people were silent, and after a while, one of them said 3.1. Mizukage-sama, I feel that Yuichiro Taito's actions may not be simple. Someone nodded in agreement. In the previous conversation, the words he said, especially about the drug that makes Master Chakra, seemed to be deliberately said to us. Citrus Yagura was slightly silent, with a calm expression, I know. Terumi Mei said. Then, Mizukage-sama, what are we going to do next? Do we need to send someone to investigate the information in the city? Yagura, however, shook his head. No, since he said it to us on purpose, then he must have a plan. The specifics will depend on what he will take us to see tomorrow. Maybe the answer will be known tomorrow. 55. The 232nd chapter begins to put bait. Please subscribe. In the blink of an eye, the next day came. Shi Shangyang sent someone to invite Yagura to the chief building. Not many people came this time. Apart from Yagura, there were only a few necessary guards around him. How was your rest last night? Shi Shangyang asked. Not bad. Citrus Yagura nodded. It is morning, come here at this time, he is ready to open his eyes. No wonder he would have such an idea. There are really too many things to see in TNG village, and many of them are things that he has never thought of or seen. Logically speaking, the shadow of a village must be knowledgeable. However, in TNG village, he also realized that his knowledge was shallow. That's good, I'll take you to a laboratory today. Lab? 35. Yes, a laboratory dedicated to the development of ninjutsu, Shi Shangyang explained. Hearing this, Yagura immediately became interested. Ninjas' pursuit of ninjutsu is eternal. As long as they are ninjas, it is impossible not to like ninjutsu. This represents the power of ninjas. To a certain extent, the master's ninja the more jutsu, the stronger the ninja's power, so naturally Yagura is looking forward to 14. There was also Terumi Mei, who somehow felt that the smile on the other side's face was a little weird, but she couldn't tell what was weird. Let's go. 35 Shi Shangyang led the way, and the group entered the underground from the chief building, where there was an entrance to the underground space. Mist Shinobi and his party consisted of 5 people, except for Yagura, who was Mizukage, the rest were Terumi Mei and 3 other guards. See, they also understand the sense of proportion, allowing them to bring a few guards as already a special grace of Tien Village. When they got down to the ground, Mist Shinobi and his party discovered that there was something special here. Just what they saw, there was a huge open area in front of them. It was like an underground labyrinth. There were countless doors and alleys. There are still people guarding many places, and it is clear that there are secrets hidden in them. Mist Shinobi and his party also knew their identity, so they didn't make any misunderstood actions. They followed Shi Shangyang and turned left and right. After about 10 minutes, they stopped in front of a hidden door. There are also people guarding here, but they were notified in advance, and after a few people arrived, the door of the laboratory was automatically opened. When everyone entered, they saw Orochimaru standing beside the test bench, facing everyone with his unique smile. Advertisement, welcome. Orochimaru opened his mouth, then nodded to Shi Shangyang and walked inside. Shi Shangyang smiled slightly, and said to Goji Tachibana, this is one of the many laboratories in the village, dedicated to the development of special ninjutsu. Special ninjutsu? Well, the ninjutsu research of the beast transformation spell. Shi Shangyang was slightly surprised, but he did not continue to ask questions, and walked into the laboratory with Shi Shangyang. Soon, he saw those special instruments in the laboratory, and in the middle of one of the instruments, there was a person standing. The beast transformation spell has been completed. I brought you here today, just to invite you to watch the whole process, Shi Shangyang said. Can you tell us about this kind of thing? Yagura asked. Shi Shangyang just smiled slightly. It doesn't matter, it's just a show of ninjutsu, it's not a very important secret. Hearing what he said, Yagura's eyes flashed, and she nodded. Thank you very much, I've already begun to look forward to it. Shi Shangyang heard the words, nodded to Orochimaru, and the latter began to operate on the operating table together. Yuju Yagura observed it, and then whispered. That experimenter should be an ordinary person, right? Shi Shangyang nodded and explained. It is indeed the experimenter. For similar human experiments, we will recruit experimenters in the village. Citrus Yagura didn't know what to think, frowned, and said, if you do this, won't it arouse any public anger? Will not. Shi Shangyang laughed and said, maybe you haven't observed it clearly. TNG village is different from ordinary ninja village. The residents here are not resistant to experiments. Why? Yagura wondered. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang said, first of all, our experiment does not involve some dark side. It is an upright experiment, and certain matters or consequences that need to be paid attention to in the experiment will be informed before the experiment. Never force. As he said that, he pointed to the experimenter in the middle of the instrument and said, just like him, he has lived in TN village for 3 years and has just obtained resident status, but because of his own talent, he is very poor to Chakra's master, so he actively participated in this experiment. Also, there will be a lot of money subsidies for each experiment. This alone is enough to attract people. Yagura nods slightly, and understands that there are similar experiments in Mist Shinobi. It is very important to develop ninjutsu in which village, but they never look for experimenters in their own villages, but through special channels. Come on, as Mizukage, he knows that. Since it is a special channel, it is not a formal practice, so the experimenter is unlikely to cooperate, and the whole process is self-evident. This can refer to Orochimaru's private human experiment when he was in Konoha. Almost the same situation. But in Tien village, human experiments can be said openly, because this is not something accompanied by a conspiracy. On the contrary, after a long time, the people will become more supportive, which 047 is the envy of Yagura. Drop by drop. The instrument began to sound, and then saw the experimenter's body suddenly appear densely packed with incantations. These incantations quickly gathered together and stayed on the chest outside his heart, forming a circular seal mark. The next moment, the experimenter let out a painful roar, and then the figure began to grow, and there were some beast features on his body, which looked like a tall werewolf. The whole process took less than half a minute, and the experimenter completed the transformation. Seeing this, Orochimaru smiled slightly and said, the experiment was very successful, and the experimental subject easily endured the pain caused by the deformation. Shi Shangyang nodded and said to the experimenter, how do you feel now? The experimenter is now over 2 meters tall. Hearing that, he looked at his limbs and body, and said, I feel very good, my body is full of strength, and chakra seems to have increased by at least 3 times, 35. Orochimaru added his lips and smiled softly. The exact value is 3.75 times, reaching the level of Chunin. Shi Shangyang began to applaud, and Yagura and the others followed suit. How does it look? Shi Shangyang asked, now that he was ready to put the bait. Citrus Yagura nodded, with a kind of inquiry in his eyes. It's amazing, it's amazing. The 233rd chapter reveals the true identity. Please subscribe. It's a lie to say no. As Mizukage, Yagura is always thinking about trying to grow Kirigakure, but no matter how you do it, the overall improvement to Kirigakure is very limited, because it's a slow process, and you want to see immediate results. To be effective, some special means must be used. What are the skills of a ninja? Stealing and robbing are nothing more than the 2 best effects, but if the target is Tien Jamura, Yagura is unwilling. There is no other reason. First of all, Tien Nomura is strong enough. This power is a whole, much more than that of Mist Shinobi. He, Mizukage, is naturally aware of this. The second is that he and the leader of Tien village are friends. This is a personal friendship, and it also represents the future cooperation potential of the 2 villages. If only because of the ninjutsu experiment in front of him, he is moved and he chooses to explore the information in it. It is easy to break the existing pattern, and when the time comes, the 2 sides will change from friends to enemies, then it will really outweigh the gains. But the temptation is really tempting, and what is shown in front of him is exactly the method that can make Kirigakure increase his strength quickly, especially after Shi Shangyang described the characteristics of this beast transformation spell. He couldn't hold back his impulse. He was like this, not to mention the 3 guards who came with him. They looked at each other in private and could see the movement in each other's eyes. Yuju Yagura took a deep breath and said, it's incredible, I didn't expect you, Ichiro, to develop such an ninjutsu, which will have a huge effect on the improvement of the village's strength. Shi Shangyang shook his head. This is nothing, it's just a very ordinary experiment. In fact, I have similar methods here, but the results of this experiment are considered to be for those with poor potential in the village. Just a choice. Tangerine Yagura nodded slightly, seemingly calm on the surface, but very excited inside, but he restrained it very well. Shi Shangyang gave Orochimaru another wink. The latter smiled slightly, and said to the experimenter in the field. Then, let's try the second form change. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. The man nodded, and then made a seal. After more than 20 seals were completed, the chakra fluctuations on his body became violent, and then the spell marks on his chest began to change, like disintegration and reorganization. The spells were rearranged, and then turned into a circle again. At the same time as the curse mark changed, this person's body also began to change. From the original height of more than 2 meters, it gradually shrank until it changed to 1 meter 5 or 6, and the body became slender, and there were more lines on the skin. The scales, hands and feet have web-like structures. The most interesting thing is that there are 6 symmetrical pairs of fish gills on his gills. As The man gasped for a few times, and then his breathing gradually became stable, and the vital signs on the surrounding instruments were monitored and gradually stabilized. Advertisement. Well, the change is very complete and in line with expectations. Orochimaru nodded, then glanced at the experimenter and pressed a button on the instrument. Chi. Soon, the wall behind the man cracked to both sides, revealing a swimming pool half the size of a basketball court behind the wall. Start the next test. Orochimaru said. Yes. The man responded with a sound, and then jumped into the water with a thud, like a fish swimming under the water. Yugura and the others watched the man's movements closely, and as time passed, the expressions on their faces became more and more surprised, until they finally turned into shock. More than 10 minutes have passed, and in these 10 minutes, the man has been in the water without showing his head to breathe, but looking at the man's chest ups and downs in the water, it is obvious that he is breathing in the water. It is no longer a change in appearance, but a change in body structure. If it was said that the shape of a werewolf was similar to that of a werewolf, it only showed a magical ability to change, then the change in the shape of the fish now made Yugura and others unable to hold back. You must know that the country of water is an island Guojia, surrounded by the sea, and the water resources within the country are also very rich, so the ninjas of Mist Shinobi are naturally good at water-style ninjutsu. If they can change the form of master, then the fighting ability of the ninjas of the country will inevitably increase several times on the original basis. Especially the appearance of being able to breathe while sleeping, it directly hit the hearts of several people in Yugura. Shi Shangyang saw the changes in the expressions of several people, smiled slightly, and said to Orochimaru. Yes, this technique can be included in the ninjutsu scroll. Have you thought of the name? Orochimaru grinned. Of course, let's call it a beast transformation spell. The beast transformation spell, a very apt name. Shi Shangyang nodded, and then said to Yugura, how about it, are you still satisfied with our experiment? Lidang Yugura nodded. He now somewhat understands why Shi Shangyang did this. If he had doubts before he came, now he can be sure. Shi Shangyang brought them to see this experiment, and he must have something to ask for, of. So, can Yugura-kun, Tien Nomura and Kirigakure enter into a deeper cooperation? Shi Shangyang took the initiative to break the topic. Advertisement. The wolf orange Yugura flashed a certain light, and then said, you all go out first, I have something to discuss with your excellency Taito Yang. The three guards looked at each other, and one of them said, Lord Mizukage, in this case. Before he finished speaking, Yugura interrupted directly, execute the order. Yes, Mizukage-sama. Seeing this, the three of them didn't talk nonsense. They turned around and left the laboratory. Terumi Mei wanted to leave, but was stopped by Shi Shangyang. It doesn't matter, Miss Terumi Mei can stay. It's better for you to be an auditor for the next thing. Terumi Mei glanced at Yugura, who nodded slightly. Orochimaru chuckled twice, and then said, then, I will not disturb the leader and Mizukage to discuss matters. He said, ended the experiment, pressed on the instrument, closed the wall, of Zhao, and he quickly left. In the large laboratory, only Shi Shangyang, Yudachi Yugura, and Terumi Mei were left. Shi Shangyang smiled slightly and made a seal in the surprised eyes of the two. Boom. A puff of white smoke dissipated, and Yoichiro Taito disappeared, replaced by Shi Shangyang's real face, appearing in front of Yugura and Terumi Mei. The expressions of the two changed instantly. Yugura frowned and stared at Shi Shangyang's face, a little surprised and a little dignified. You are Konoha's rebel Shi Shangyang. No wonder you behaved like this. It was really what Shi Shangyang had done in Konoha. The information on this aspect had already been learned by other shinobi villages, and he couldn't hide it even if he wanted to hide it. Terumi Mei was stunned, then frowned. I'm sorry to hide my identity for so long. Let me reintroduce myself. I am the leader of Tien Village, Shi Shangyang. 39. Chapter 234. The Ninja World is Unstoppable. Please subscribe. Yuju Yugura understood in an instant and said solemnly, that is to say, you have always pretended to be Yoichiro Taito? Shi Shangyang nodded with a smile, and said directly, you are right. The identity of Taito Yoichiro was fake from the beginning, or in other words, there is no such person as Taito Yoichiro in this world. Terumi Mei looked complicated. To be honest, she still had a good impression of Yoichiro Taito, but only now did she know that this person was actually a fake identity of the other party, which made her feel like she was being teased. Yugura Yugura said solemnly, then, I have reason to suspect that you may have some kind of purpose in contacting me from the beginning. Do you admit this? Shi Shangyang smiled and shrugged. I will not deny this. Is that so? Yugura's face darkened. Shi Shangyang said, don't be angry for now, although I did have some other thoughts when I first contacted you, but over the years, how much Tien Jamura has helped Miss Shinobi. I believe you are also very clear about this, you should don't deny it. 35. Yuju Yugura was silent, then nodded slightly, glanced at Shi Shangyang and said, so, what do you want to show your true face now? Don't forget, you are Konoha's rebellion, and rebellion is in the world of shinobi. Identity is embarrassing. Shi Shangyang smiled. Yugura-kun, do you 047 think that with Tien Jamura's ability, do you still care about Konoha? This is a very real problem, and when Yugura remembered the strength of Tien Jamura, he realized that Shi Shangyang did have such confidence. His identity of betrayal and ninja was nothing at all, one was not weaker than Konoha, even there is also a village leader who may be stronger than Konoha, Why would he care about the traitorous identity given by Konoha? Everyone can tell this clearly. So about my true identity, Yugura-kun doesn't need to care too much. The reason why I deceived you before was only because the Tien village at that time had not developed to the current level for unnecessary trouble, so the identity has been hidden, and now that the conditions are ripe, naturally there is no need to continue to hide. Yuju Yugura thought for a while, and it was indeed as Shi Shangyang said, and he could understand it, but now that Shi Shangyang's identity was revealed, he suddenly became vigilant. Now he is sure that there are obvious motives for inviting him to come, and now for the other party to reveal his identity. He doesn't know what this motive is, but it is clear that the other party must have a plot against Miss Shinobi. According to this idea, all the personal friendships in the past can now be put aside, and everything must be based on the interests of the village. Advertisement. So, what do you want to do? Yugura asked. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, I want to change this world of ninjas and end the current chaos in the world of ninjas. End the chaos in the ninja world. Yugura frowned. Just from this sentence, he could feel Shi Shangyang's ambition. Is the country of water rich now? Shi Shangyang asked suddenly. Yugura was silent. He couldn't answer this question. He knew very well that compared with other Guojia in the ninja world, the country of water was undoubtedly rich, but if it was the country of Tien, then the country of water was nothing at all. Is Kirigakure strong? Shi Shangyang asked again. Yugura is still silent. The answer is obvious. Kirigakure can't be compared with the current Tanokura at all. Both in terms of economy and force, Tanokura is much better than Miss Shinobi. This is also the reason why Tien-ji-kun did not really show his strength, otherwise, the pattern of the 5 great nations of the ninja world would definitely be broken in the first place. Shi Shangyang asked the third question. How long do you think Miss Shinobi in the Land of Water will take to develop to catch up with the current pace of Tien Village and Tien Guo? Yugura's face is not very good looking. This is already a face slap. These questions are not very easy to answer, right, too. After all, Yugura-kun, you are Mizukage, and the dignity of Mizukage does not allow you to say that your village is not as good as other villages, so what is the reality? Shinobi is strong, and the Land of Fields is stronger than the Land of Water. Shi Shangyang's smile is very sincere, but when this smile falls in the eyes of the two, there is a feeling of being despised. Terumi Mei's face is not very good looking. She is only angry with Shi Shangyang now. Shi Shangyang seemed to see the anger in her heart, and suddenly said, Miss Terumi Mei, I said yesterday that I want to give you a gift, and I will give it to you now. Advertisement. No, I'm not interested, Terumi Mei said. Shi Shangyang smiled and waved his hand, no nonsense, and took out a glass bottle from his pocket, which contained a tube of medicine. He said, this is a drug that can make ordinary people master chakra. Of course, this one is the first generation product, and such a drug, Tien Jamura, has been updated to the 3rd generation, and the efficacy has increased by at least %50. Terumi Mei would definitely not accept it if it was something else, but now Shi Shangyang brought out such a precious thing, which was exactly what Miss Shinobi needed, so she had no reason to refuse. Silently taking the glass bottle, Terumi Mei looked very silent as she looked at the size of her little finger, and there were 30 medicine tubes in it. There are 30 people here. You can bring it back and find someone to test the effect. Under this medicine, even those who are extremely stupid and unable to master chakra at all can quickly master chakra. Of course, master chakra doesn't mean how powerful it will become, it just gives ordinary people the most basic conditions to become a ninja, don't get this confused. Shi Shangyang said. Terumi Mei remained silent, but turned her gaze to her Mizukage. Then are you sure you want to do this? Yugura asked. Shi Shangyang shook his head. I wouldn't do it. Yugura also had no reason to refuse. This kind of gift was really precious. Even if he had a bad impression of Shi Shangyang just now, he had to accept it at this time. Shi Shangyang did not seem to feel the atmosphere of the scene, and continued. Then Yugura-kun, and Miss Terumi Mei, do you think that with the current Tien village and my own strength, if you want to conquer the surrounding small countries, can it be done? 35. So, quite embarrassing. Please subscribe. Yugura was slightly relieved, but the next moment he raised his mind, because Shi Shangyang said, but if I continue to develop at this speed, who in the ninja world can stop me? 35. Citrus Yugura's expression changed, and he said solemnly, if you do this, do you know what the consequences will be? Shi Shangyang shrugged. Of course, I know very well that the price of this is nothing more than arousing the vigilance of other Da ninja villages, especially Cloud Shinobi, who might start a war with TNG village, and then under the chain reaction, the 4th ninja war broke out. 5. Chapter 235 Shi Shangyang presses people with power, please subscribe. Yes. If it continues to develop at this speed, what will Tien village look like in a few years? Who will be able to stop Tien village's actions at that time? The answer is no. Only after seeing the current situation of Tien-ji-kun can we understand how powerful Tien-ji-kun is now. This kind of strength is all-round and has almost no shortcomings. From the perspective of Mizukage, Yugura can easily see the advanced point of Tien-ji village compared with other ninja villages, which are those dazzling innovations, and Tien-ji village is full of various innovative products. Some are for life, some are for force, but no matter what, this is something that other ninja villages in the ninja world cannot do. The most important thing is the vitality of Tien-ji-kun that exists all the time. This is the foundation for a village to grow and develop. Tien-ji-kun has achieved this to an almost ultimate level. Such a result, just thinking about it, makes people feel terrifying, and it also makes Utachi Yagura frustrated. He is also the ruler of the village. Why can't he do this? And Shi Shangyang is a rebel, but he can take Tien. How did the village develop to such a degree? This idea actually haunted him ever since he arrived in Tien village. So Yagura-kun, now do you think I invited you over for some dark purpose? Shi Shangyang asked again. Yagura took a deep breath, knowing what Shi Shangyang said was no problem, because the reality is like this. Even if the other party really has a plan, even if he has the ambition to conquer the ninja world, then the other party just needs to continue to accumulate strength like this. It won't take long. Maybe the entire ninja world can't stop his footsteps. At this point, after seeing the strength of Tien Jimura, Yagura was reluctant to take on it, but he had to admit that, at the same time, he also had confidence in Shi Shangyang that made him frustrated. What Shi Shangyang meant by this was to tell him clearly that if I really had any ambitions for Mist Shinobi, I wouldn't need to use any conspiracy at all, but directly use the power of Tien Nomura to make Mist Shinobi sink into the abyss. Yagura sighed and said solemnly, "So, what do you want to do? Or, what is your attitude towards Mist Shinobi?" When these words are asked, there is no room for the two sides to switch, either cooperation or hostility, and there is no third way. Shi Shangyang smiled. Which Mist Shinobi, who lost 3 tails, is now ranked among the 5 great ninja villages. Citrus Yagura is silent. Advertisement, if the 4th ninja war really starts, what attitude will the water country change to face it? Citrus Yagura remains silent. If the economic and material support of TNG village is lost, will the development behind Mist Shinobi be interrupted? Citrus Yagura has nothing to say. One more thing, as Mizukage, don't you want your village to be the same as Tien's village? 99. Hearing this, Yagura didn't know what to say. Terumi Mei suddenly said, "So, are you planning to conquer the land of water in Mist Shinobi?" Women are more or less emotional, especially a woman like Terumi Mei who has been deceived by Shi Shangyang. When faced with Shi Shangyang's aggressive attitude, she will naturally resist. Yagura's heart sank, and he wanted to ask this question too, but if he asked it as Mizukage, it would be equivalent to really tearing his face. At this time, Terumi Mei asked, but it also made him nervous. No matter how you look at it, Mist Shinobi's current identity and position are very embarrassing. Relying on the blood transfusions of Tien village over the years, Mist Shinobi has reached the current level. If Wada Nomura really tore his face, then it will indeed have a great impact on the subsequent development of Mist Shinobi. Conquest. No, Shi Shangyang shook a finger, but said with a smile on his face, "I have no interest in conquering Mist Shinobi. On the contrary, I prefer to deepen cooperation with Mist Shinobi." Yagura frowned and asked, "Deepen cooperation? Are you serious?" "Of course, I won't lie to you on this point, because it won't do me any good," Shi Shangyang said. "What kind of cooperation law?" Shi Shangyang smiled even more and said to the two, "Please come with me." With that said, he opened another door of the laboratory and walked in. Advertisement. Utachi Yagura and Terumi Mei looked at each other. Both of them were a little heavy, but they followed. Behind the Taoists is an office-like room. There is a map of the ninja world on the wall of the office. The sphere of influence of the ninja world is distinguished by various colors. But what really caught the attention of Yagura and Terumi Mei was the color that represented the land on the map. Katakana middle dot flowers katakana middle dot. The country of Tien is painted red, and the same color also appears on the country of Yu, the country of grass, and the country of rain, as well as the country of large half stone, small half of taki and frost, and more than half of the river, country. Overall, on this ninja world map, the red color is like a capital C, which separates the country of thunder, the country of earth, the country of wind and the country of fire, and the inner circle of C is the country of fire. It can be said that the entire country of fire is surrounded. Yuju Yagura's pupils shrank, and he naturally understood the meaning of the map of the ninja world, and looked at Shi Shangyang in disbelief. "The red above is the power of your master?" Shi Shangyang nodded without any denial. "That's right, it's true, this is what I have worked hard to achieve over the past few years. How can the power of the master I am now shake the 5 kingdoms?" Yagura gritted his teeth slightly. Shi Shangyang showed them this, clearly telling them how powerful his master was, and it was this map that gave them the most intuitive impact. Shi Shangyang nodded. "I never deny this, but, have you heard of wars in the ninja world in recent years? Even these small countries are very peaceful? Please subscribe." Inch. Terumi Mei's red lips were open, but she couldn't say anything at this time. Her heart was very shocked, and she even had a faint sense of fear. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "The small country in the ninja world has basically been taken over by 2/3 of my master, and the remaining ones that are not bordered by it cannot be touched for the time being, but with the passage of time, this kind of the situation will soon change." Thought Citrus Yagura took a deep breath and said solemnly, "You really are an ambitious guy." Yagura sighed, but he didn't know how to refute, because what Shi Shangyang said was true, and he couldn't find any reason to refute. The ninja world looks very big, but it's actually very small. In such a small piece of land, there are so many Guojia divided. It's ridiculous to think about it. If all these Guojia are gathered together, it will erupt again. What kind of power? If you develop the ninja world in the way of Tien village, what kind of potential will there be? Regarding this, do you have Yagura-kun? As he said that, he pointed to the top of his head and said inexplicably, "So, do you think this is correct?" Chapter 236. The picture is too poor to see the dagger, please subscribe. Guju Yagura groaned in his heart. He didn't know why, but after hearing Shi Shangyang's words, he actually felt a creepy feeling. Raising her head suddenly, Yagura stared at Shi Shangyang and said solemnly, "Your intention is the entire ninja world?" Shi Shangyang looked at him with a sense of oppression in his eyes. Sharingan was instantly revealed. The three tomo spun rapidly, then condensed into one piece, and instantly turned into the Mangekyo appearance of the six-bladed vortex. "Do you think the ninja world is very big? On this continent, it only takes 3 months at most to travel from east to west with a ninja's footsteps. Is it big? Such a big place is actually divided into so many guojia. What? Time for peace. How many days are there without real and fighting?" Yagura opened his mouth to speak, but was interrupted by Shi Shangyang's 047 voice. "You are Mizukage of Mist Shinobi. Master holds the right to a village, was born in Mist Shinobi, and naturally goes to Mist Shinobi. I understand it very well, but have you ever thought about those ordinary people in the ninja world? They hope for peace?" Shi Shangyang said with a sneer. "Shouldn't there be? After all, you are a ninja. Ninjas are high above the ground, and they don't care about the lives of ordinary people, but you may have forgotten that it is the ordinary people who occupy 99% of this continent. You know when how terrifying will their combined power be expected?" Yagura couldn't answer. Tien no village is the answer. "I have tried my best and spent the past few years to gather people displaced by war from all over the ninja world, and use the knowledge in my brain to develop people who are useful to them and give them peace. Life, tell them how to fight for their own life, and tell them how to protect their own life, and this is what TNG village is now, but do you think this is the end?" Shi Shangyang's smile came out with these few words, and it was a little hideous. "Impossible, there has never been true peace in the ninja world. One day when the 5 major ninja villages exist, this kind of peace will be far away for a day. Unless there is a crisis that can destroy the ninja world, otherwise, the situation in the ninja world will go on like this forever." Yagura was silent. He gradually understood the deep meaning of Shi Shangyang's words, so he did not interrupt him. "So what do you think this situation will be like after 100 years? 5 ninja village, you attack me, I attack you. Today the country of earth is destroyed, tomorrow another country of sand will come out, and the combination will split. The split will continue like this forever, but what about 1,000 years from now?" Yagura can't answer this question, and he has never thought about it for so long. As Mizukage, his duty is to strengthen the village. In addition, he doesn't need to think about the future trend of the ninja world. But Shi Shangyang's questioning made him feel like he had been punched in the brain. Advertisement snapped. Shi Shangyang slapped the map and said solemnly, "I think this is wrong. If the situation here continues, the damage will ultimately be the future of the ninja world. But you people never want to look away. Throwing into the starry sky, the ninja world is too small, the starry sky is our destination." Yagura took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled it, staring at Shi Shangyang and said, "So, are you planning to integrate the power of the entire ninja world?" Shi Shangyang didn't deny it, and said directly, "Yes, I won't deny this, just like I said just now, I want to end this situation, I want everyone's eyes to turn to the starry sky, because the enemy of the ninja world right in the sky." Yagura's eyes flashed, and she instantly analyzed the key points in Shi Shangyang's words. "The enemy in the starry sky?" Shi Shangyang said, "Have you heard of the surname Otsutsuki? 35? Goddess of Mao." Shi Shangyang nodded. He did not hide, but chose to tell everything about Otsutsuki Kagaya. As he spoke, the expressions of Yagura and Terumi Mei became solemn, and they became even more solemn in the end. "If what you said is true, doesn't it mean that the ninja world is always in danger? Will those Otsutsuki in the starry sky come to the ninja world soon?" Yagura asked in a deep voice. Shi Shangyang said, "Yes, although I don't know when the Otsutsuki in the starry sky will come to the ninja world, this result is doomed. I can tell you responsibly that none of the Otsutsuki in the starry sky is weaker than Sage of Six Paths. Imagine the moon created by Sage of Six Paths, who in the ninja world can stop it?" 35. Yagura was speechless, but when he thought of the moon, and the ability to create the moon, he shuddered a little. Faced with such a crisis, do you think the existing structure of the ninja world can resist? Haha, it's hard, right? The 5 major ninja villages only know how to attack each other, but they never thought of a world where the ninja world is completely integrated into one. What is it like to concentrate everyone's strength so that we can possibly fight against such an enemy? Do you agree with this? Yuju Yagura clenched his fist slightly, still staring at Shi Shangyang and said, "Having said so much, have you ever thought about what it will bring to the ninja world if you want to accomplish what you said?" Shi Shangyang sneered. "What else? You think nothing more than war? Do you think war is the only way to solve the problem? Isn't war the only way to integrate the power of the entire ninja world?" Yagura asked with a frown. Advertisement, DAJ. Shi Shangyang sneered before speaking. Yes. Yagura and Terumi Mei were speechless. Shi Shangyang suddenly burst into laughter, and the coldness and anger just now disappeared without a trace. Then I heard him say, "War is indeed the fastest way to achieve an end, but I feel that sometimes it is faster to change the method." 99. Citrus Yagura asked subconsciously, "What method?" The corners of Shi Shangyang's mouth were raised, and he said to Yagura, "It's very simple, the kingdom of water and the kingdom of fields merge." Yuju Yagura said solemnly, "You really have intentions for the land of water, have you finally admitted it now?" However, Shi Shangyang said quietly, "When the people in the land of water become as rich as the people in the village of fields, and all the people in the land of water have mastered chakra, do you think this kind of thing is good or bad? Or, you never thought about it from the beginning to the end?" "What? Please subscribe. Are you surprised?" Shi Shangyang laughed. Before Yagura could speak, Terumi Mei exclaimed subconsciously. It was Shi Shangyang's proposal, which made people feel a little weird. At this moment, he raised his vigilance to the highest level, and was even ready to do it. 3.1 Yagura's expression froze, but because of Shi Shangyang's words, he began to inexplicably think about it. Chapter 237 5 Treasures and Warnings, please subscribe. Yagura started to think about it, not to mention Terumi Mei. She was full of what Shi Shangyang said at this time. She couldn't help but think of it. When she thought of ordinary people in the land of water, they could master chakra, like that. The scene made her feel emotional. People in the ninja world also have a hometown complex. This is human nature. If it is not really impossible to survive, who would want to leave their hometown? And people like Yagura and Terumi Mei have a deeper affection for their hometown, and they hope that their hometown can be rich and powerful. This is determined by their status and subconsciously. Shi Shangyang's words gave them a kind of hope, and it could be felt from Shi Shangyang's attitude that this kind of hope seemed to be in front of them, so it was normal to have such a momentary heartbeat. "You can't do that," Yagura said. "This is also very realistic, at least in Yagura's cognition. He, the Mizukage, will definitely not agree to do this." "Sure enough, we still can't get out of the limitation of thinking of one country and one village?" Shi Shangyang shook his head slightly. Yuju Yagura said, "I can't agree to this proposal because of your 3 or 2 sentences, it's too unrealistic. No matter how good you say 14, it's impossible to change the existing ninja world pattern." Shi Shangyang smiled slightly, came to a table, opened a drawer, and took out a few things. The first one was a similar detonating talisman, which Shi Shangyang spread out on the table and introduced. This is a healing talisman, which contains the masculine chakra specially used to treat injuries, its effects and healing jutsu. Level. As he said that, he rubbed his hand on his arm, and a finger-long hole suddenly appeared on his arm, and in the blink of an eye, blood flowed. Shi Shangyang put the healing talisman on the wound, and saw a green light on the healing talisman, and then green smoke began to rise from it. Just a few breaths. Shi Shangyang uncovered the healing talisman, and the wound on his arm was gone. He recovered as before, with no scars left. Advertisement. Because my physique is special, the effect of the healing talisman will be better. The average person can use this thing to heal similar wounds within 3 minutes. This healing talisman is only 5 times more expensive than the explosive talisman, Shi Shangyang said. This thing was developed under the leadership of Nohara Rin, and the idea was provided by Shi Shangyang. Before he crossed, he had seen a lot of ninja fans, and there were many Master Kakuzu who had made similar things, so he developed a healing talisman. Not too difficult. Shi Shangyang said and took out the second item and put it on the table. It was a special pair of glasses, sort of like 2 coin-sized telescopes mounted on the forehead protector, less than 3 centimeters long. This thing is called Beian Yimu, which was developed based on the characteristics of the white eyes of the Hyuga family. Entering chakra, it can achieve the observation effect similar to Beian. It has the ability of extreme farsightedness of 3 kilometers, and also has the same perspective function as Beian. Said Shi Shangyang. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. This is developed based on the white eye, and the right eye based on Sharingan is currently being developed in the laboratory, and I believe it will not be long before there are results. The third thing is a set of clothes. It looks like an ordinary jumpsuit. Of course, it is not all green, but pure white. If you look closely, you can find that this white is somewhat similar to white. The color of the skin on Zetsu's body, the bulge-like muscle lines on his clothes, and the effect on his upper body is unknown. This is white Zetsu armor. It can be worn on the body to deliver chakra inward, which can increase the wearer's strength and speed, and has a good defense. The more chakra is input, the greater the strength and speed will be enhanced, while the defense the stronger the strength. The upper limit is about 7 times the personal strength. Saying that, Shi Shangyang typed chakra into the white Zetsu armored onesie. In an instant, the shallow muscle lines on the white Zetsu armored onesie began to bulge quickly, and then became like real muscles, and felt a little hurt to the touch. It feels like a muscle in clothes. Shi Shangyang just showed it a little, and then put the fourth thing on the table. It was a glass with a light brown liquid in it, a bit like tea, but much lighter than tea. The chakra booster medicine can increase the user's own chakra within half an hour of drinking it. The inspiration comes from the hero water of Taki Ninja Village, but it eliminates the side effect of the hero water that consumes the user's vitality, so it is temporarily used. Only 2 to 3 times the level of chakra can be achieved. The fifth thing is a scroll. Open it. There are some words densely written on it, and there are various incantations. Advertisement. This is the ninjutsu scroll of forbidden technique life compensation. This technique was developed by me and Orochimaru, inspired by the Baihao technique of Tsunade Haim, one of Konoha Sanin. After learning this technique, you can easily absorb nature energy, and at the same time store natural energy in the chest, can stimulate vitality at critical moments, even if you are seriously injured, you can use this technique to replenish vitality. I will not demonstrate it, it is very laborious. Speaking of Shi Shangyang, he smiled and said to Yagura, these things are my sincerity. I am not interested in conquering the land of water, all I want is the support of the land of water. If you agree, the land of water will be this is my next development goal. It's fake if you don't like it. When you take out everything, Yagura can't wait to take it directly. Everything on the table is extremely precious in the eyes of Yagura, and it is a treasure that has a great effect on Mist Shinobi. If you agree to merge the land of water and the land of land, then the village of land will provide these things to Mist Shinobi, Shi Shangyang said. It was really heartwarming. Yagura could hear the sincerity in Shi Shangyang's words 063, but he still couldn't do it at the same time. So Yagura shook his head and said, I don't know whether the country of water is willing to merge with the country of field, but what I do know is that Kirigakure will not agree to this proposal. Although I am Mizukage of Mist Shinobi, but Mist Shinobi is not a man of his word, and even if he agrees, he will be opposed by others. Shi Shangyang smiled inexplicably. You don't need the consent of the country of water, as long as you want to. If you agree, then the rest will be easy. As for how to make a Guojia become in step with the country of Tien, I have experience with this. After he finished speaking, he restrained his smile and stared at Yagura, and said solemnly, I believe you can also see my sincerity. If you agree, then we can start supporting the whole country of water in the near future. And if you don't if I agree, then I can only use other methods to achieve my goal. At that time, we can only be the enemy who will win and lose on the battlefield. 39. This is a warning, and Yagura immediately felt a pressure when she heard the words. I need to go back and think about this kind of thing. Shi Shangyang smiled again. Yes, I look forward to your good news. At this time, Shi Shangyang was already convinced that he was at least 60 to 70% sure that Yagura would agree to his proposal, because the advantages and disadvantages were too obvious. Chapter 238 Coercion and Inducement, please subscribe. After showing the ability of Tien Jamura and giving some benefits, how will Yagura choose in the end? In fact, both Shi Shangyang and Yagura are very clear in their hearts. Is Kirigakure strong? Undoubtedly powerful, at least as one of the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world, and it is still in the middle level. The power level is naturally a Madara, but it also depends on who it is compared with. Kirigakure would not be under any pressure in the previous Tien village, but compared to the current Tien village, Mist Shinobi is nothing at all. Shi Shangyang has devoted most of his energy to the development of Tien village in recent years. With all kinds of advanced cognition in his mind, he developed Tien Jikun to the current level. This is where Shi Shangyang's strength lies. He wanted to convince people with reason, so he gave Yagura and the other 5 treasures, but simple enticing is not enough, so he has to use his power to suppress people and use the strength of TNG village to come. Let Yagura compromise. If you want to make Kirigakure compromise, this kind of thing can't be forced. If he relies on his own strength to force it, it will probably backfire. Many things cannot be solved with strength alone. Otherwise, Shi Shangyang can directly conquer the ninja world. It is not difficult to defeat Kirigakure, even Shi Shangyang can do it alone, but then the management will be a problem. Under pressure there will be resistance. What Shi Shangyang wants is to let the people of Kirigakure sincerely support him, and it's not about a bottomless pit that you're always going to put in. So in this way, the situation of solving the problem should be smoother. He doesn't care how many things he gives. Although there are 5 kinds of treasures, each of them is actually nothing to Shi Shangyang. Tien Jikun is now almost every period of time, new research will come out, and there are many novel things. These 5 treasures are only slightly representative things, and they are nothing at all. And there is one more point, he only gave the real thing, but did not give the manufacturing method, so basically, except for the forbidden technique and the other 4 of the compensation for life, the master is still in his hands, so there is no need to worry about giving after the benefit is paid, it cannot be recovered. Yagura's face is not very good looking. As Mizukage, he is very uncomfortable to be threatened so directly, but the benefits given by Shi Shangyang are too great for him to give up at all. Such a dilemma, the situation made him even more troubled. It's not that the 2 Guojia merged in the ninja world, but it was often based on force, that is, a big country used force to conquer a small country and then annexed it. This appeared in the history of the ninja world in the past. Many times, even the 5 major countries were able to have the current territory, and it was only obtained through such military conquest and annexation of some surrounding small countries and small forces in the early stage. But the current pattern of the ninja world has been finalized, and the 5 major countries are restraining each other, and this situation rarely occurs again. Advertisement therefore, if Shi Shangyang chooses to use force to conquer a certain Guojia, then the result will inevitably arouse the vigilance of other great powers, and even the 4th ninja war may occur. Otherwise, Shi Shangyang would not have chosen to infiltrate the surrounding small countries, rather than directly conquered by force. Then, please give me an answer as soon as possible, Yagura-kun. Please believe my sincerity, and at the same time think more about the benefits of the merger of the land and the land of water. I believe that as a normal person, you can distinguish the pros and cons. 35 Shi Shangyang smiled. Yagura was expressionless and didn't say anything. Shi Shangyang said, looks like, Yagura-kun and Mr. Umime, they shouldn't have the time to visit other places today, so let's take a good rest for a day. The village has prepared a sumptuous dinner for everyone in the evening. I hope Yagura-kun will then visit other places. Kun can appreciate the light. Citrus Yugura said indifferently. I will go. So, let me send you back to your residence first. If you need it, you can let me know at any time. The visit to the laboratory came to an end, and Yugura was really in no mood to continue to visit other places. Shi Shangyang gave him a problem, and he needs to think about it now. Oh, by the way, I hope Yugura-kun and Terumi Mei can keep this matter a secret for the time being. After all, if the news is leaked, it will become very troublesome. If something goes wrong, it will be difficult for me. I believe you don't want to see that scene, right? Shi Shangyang suddenly said again. The faces of the two were not very good looking, and this was another obvious threat. There was someone to escort the two away, but Shi Shangyang didn't see each other again. He knew that the two of them were very complicated now and had to give each other some time to think about it. After the two left, Orochimaru, who got the news, walked into the laboratory again, looked at the 5 things on the table, and asked with a grin, Are you sure this thing can impress them? 35? Advertisement. Shi Shangyang shrugged. Who can say such a thing? But it's human affairs. This doesn't look like your character, you won't do something you are not sure about, Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang raised his eyebrows. You be ************** D. You seem to know me very well. 35. Is not it? Orochimaru smiled strangely, and continued. Benefits and threats, I believe Miss Shinobi's Mizukage-sama knows how to choose. If it were me, I would not reject the benefits you offered, just don't know they can't get out of the vicious circle of Ninja Village. 99. HMPH, don't take me for a fool. The change in the ninja world started from the moment Tianjimura's power was formed. How could I, the Wang Hao, not see it, under this power, even if it is impossible for the 5 great ninja village to stop it, otherwise, wouldn't it mean that you have been wasting your time all these years? Orochimaru said. Shi Shangyang said in surprise. Looking at your appearance, you seem to agree with my idea. You have never expressed a position in front of me. In the past few years, Orochimaru basically did not care about things other than experiments, so Shi Shangyang never knew whether Orochimaru supported his own proposition. You were right, the innovation of the ninja world is coming. Those who cannot seize this opportunity and forces will eventually turn into powder under this general trend. Shi Shangyang chuckled. It's rare that you have read so thoroughly, so tell me, do you agree with my idea? 99. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang looked at Orochimaru's back, but laughed loudly. At this moment, he thought that Orochimaru was very interesting. He clearly showed his inner thoughts in his actions, but he refused to admit it, and he was inexplicably arrogant. Sense. Orochimaru turned around and left without giving a direct response, but said, That's your business, as long as it doesn't affect my experiment. Chapter 239 Yugura's Helplessness. Please subscribe. Now, the pressure is on Miss Shinobi's side, and Yugura is thinking about what Shi Shangyang said in his head. That kind of attitude makes him very unaccustomed, but now he has to think about it. Miss Shinobi and the Land of Water are connected. How to go down. There is no doubt that Yugura knew that Shi Shangyang wanted to annex a country that fell into water, which seemed ridiculous to him, because a small country had to annex a big country first. No matter from which point of view, it was a bit of a nonsense. But now he has to think about it seriously, because from a realistic point of view, this is not impossible. Compared with Watanou Village, Miss Shinobi is indeed in a weak position, which cannot be faked. And most importantly, the benefits Shi Shangyang gave were all benefits that could enhance Kirigakure's power in a very short period of time, and he had no way of rejecting it. As Mizukage, Yugura's main responsibility is to strengthen Miss Shinobi. Now the opportunity is in front of you. If you don't seize it, it obviously doesn't fit his identity, but if you seize it, Miss Shinobi will lose himself and become one of others. Elements, which also made him unacceptable. At this point, Yugura had no choice but to choose one of the two. This sense of entanglement almost drove him crazy. He suddenly discovered that this trip was a trap set for him by Shi Shangyang, and it was also a trap that could not get out of the bag with a tight mouth, which made him very helpless, but he couldn't tell others about this kind of thing. 063 can only discuss with Terumi Mei in private. It's not because of Shi Shangyang's last warning, but if this kind of thing is said, then the relationship between Miss Shinobi and Tien Nomura will be directly impacted. He can deal with this matter calmly, but it does not mean that the people below him can also deal with it calmly. Anyone who gets angry when their brains are pumped, then this emotion will spread to the entire Miss Shinobi in an instant. If it really becomes like that, what Shi Shangyang will do, he doesn't even have to think about it. If the two sides are completely hostile, can Miss Shinobi stop Tanemura's attack? If this causes turmoil in the entire ninja world and turns into the Fourth Ninja War, how will Miss Shinobi face it? All kinds of problems plagued him, making Yugura frown. Terumi Mei is also similar. Compared with Yugura, her emotions towards Shi Shangyang are more complicated. After all, Shi Shangyang used the fake identity of Taito Yoichiro to flirt with her, and she has not been tempted yet. In this case, it made her feel that she had been seriously deceived. Advertisement. Utachi Yugura pushed the others away, and Terumi Mei looked at each other, and after a long while, Utachi Yugura sighed. It seems that the era of Mizukage is coming to an end in my generation, Yugura said in an inexplicable tone. Terumi Mei was startled and hurriedly said, Mizukage-sama, are you sure you want to agree to that guy's request? However, Yugura shook his head. It's not as simple as answering or not, but we have no choice. Haven't you seen this? Don't look at this with emotion. Terumi Mei frowned, took a deep breath to suppress the irritability in her heart, and then thought and analyzed carefully. From the opening of Shi Shangyang's invitation, to the various experiences in the past 2 days, and the various words Shi Shangyang said at the end, after thinking about it, Terumi Mei knew why Mr. Mizuka said this. Mist Shinobi really didn't have a choice in this matter, because the outcome was already doomed, and whether Mr. Mizuka agreed or not, Shi Shangyang couldn't let go of this opportunity to be able to live in Mist Shinobi. And after looking at the map, Terumi Mei had a hunch that Shi Shangyang wanted to control Mist Shinobi, or even the Land of Water. It was not difficult for him. Citrus Yagura said, "You may not know that Mist Shinobi's current food is mainly supplied by the village of the field. I didn't think about this issue at first, but now it seems that Shi Shangyang may have completed the supply of Mist Shinobi's food, economic control. As Hokage, although it has the limitations of the natives of the ninja world, its vision and cognition are higher than others. I didn't realize it before, but if I think about it now, it is not difficult to find that Mist Shinobi has actually been used by TNG in every aspect. The village is in control. If it is really hostile to Tien Village, then Tien Village only needs to cut off these supplies, and Mist Shinobi's solution will inevitably become very miserable, which he naturally, does not want to see. Terumi Mei, as the Jonin of the village, is also from a famous family in the country of water. Otherwise he would not have a double blood in the body. Such a background still has the current status. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the elite of the ninja world, so naturally these disadvantages can also be seen. I hadn't thought about this before, but now that Yagura is so awake, his expression suddenly change. Hateful. Advertisement. That feeling of being deceived is even more serious. Is there really nothing that can be done? She asked. Yagura shook his head helplessly and sighed. Mist Shinobi, as one of the 5 great ninja villages, is naturally capable of resisting the enemy's attack, even in the face of the other 4 great ninja villages. Prove things, but... Speaking of this, his expression became solemn, and he continued. The village of Tien is different, with a population of 100,000, and ordinary people have mastered chakra. Even if these people are not Jonin, they themselves must be more or less. Or at least the master is in ninjutsu, so there is nothing wrong with being a ninja. What is the concept of 100,000 ninjas? 5. Terumi Mei frowned. What is the concept of elite Jonin? It depends on what the Shi Shangyang guy thinks. If he can do what he said, it will be a good thing for Mist Shinobi and the country of water. But if he just wants to, if we control the land of water, then we can only make the worst plan, Yagura said. Terumi Mei opened her mouth to speak, but when she thought of the scene in Yagura's words, she shuddered. And don't forget, the red area marked on the map, how many people there are and how many ninjas there are, these are the power of Shi Shangyang. If Mist Shinobi really has a war with Tien Village, then the result of Mist Shinobi is only to be destroyed. So do you think that Mist Shinobi can refuse Shi Shangyang's request? Yagura asked rhetorically. Not to mention, how many of these 100,000 people are elites? Even if this number is only 1%, it is still the number of 1,000. Think about it, what is the concept of 1,000 elite Jonins? Which ninja village has this kind of elite Jonin of all scales and degrees? Please subscribe. Does it really work like this? She murmured. In the major ninja villages, they are all existences that can come into contact with shadows. The appearance of an elite Jonin may change a ninja village, not to mention 1,000 elite Jonins. This is completely unthinkable things. Terumi Mei took a deep breath. Her heart was very angry, but she felt inexplicably fearful, and her emotions were so complicated that she didn't know how to speak. Chapter 240. The Real Gap Between Mist Shinobi and Tien Village. Please subscribe. After thinking about it for a day, he didn't make up his mind in the end. This kind of thing is not an easy decision for Yagura. All he can do is to ensure that Mist Shinobi can continue to be strong. He is indeed very resistant to Shi Shangyang's request, but now it seems that he has no choice at all, but it is this situation that makes him more cautious. In the evening, Shi Shangyang sent someone to invite Mist Shinobi and his party to come to the banquet. For this reason, he arranged a very sumptuous banquet, using many of Tien Zhiguo's skilled cooks, and even set the banquet hall at the banquet hall. A place dedicated to entertaining VIPs reflects the importance he attaches to Mist Shinobi and his party. Shi Shangyang arrived at the banquet with the identity of Taito Yuichiro restored, and in addition to him, he was accompanied by the 3 ninja tribes, Uchiha, Hyuga, and Vortex, as well as some representatives of other small human tribes in the village. As for whether or not Uchiha's existence will be exposed, Shi Shangyang naturally doesn't care, because after inviting Mist Shinobi and his party this time, Tien Zhiguo is destined to be revealed to others. This was decided early on. Matter. It just happened that I could take this opportunity to spread the news of the Uchiha family in TNG village generously. Shi Shangyang was very curious, how would the Konoha side react at that time? At this level of development, there are not many forces in the ninja world that can make Tien Jimura scruples. Even when dealing with the 5 major ninja villages, Tien Jikun now has considerable confidence. Shi Shangyang has always believed that what he should do when the time comes is related to his character. Many things have been arranged and calculated clearly, including the fact that Tien Jimura wants to show his strength now. It is no longer necessary to hide it, and now Tien Jikun should also show his strength to the outside world. Thank you Mist Shinobi for all the honors. Today I specially prepared a dish that suits your appetite. I hope you will like it. The atmosphere was quite good. Yugura didn't say anything that bothered him, so these people who came with him just regarded it as an ordinary banquet, and looked at the exquisite dishes with a lot of interest. The banquet is divided into meals, one person per table. Shi Shangyang, as the host, naturally has the responsibility of entertaining guests, but he does not need to do this kind of thing. He has his own people to carry it out. He only needs to be responsible for arranging the Mizukage Yugura. That's it. At this time, Yugura frowned, looked at the people who were in charge of entertaining the guests, and asked uncertainly, "Are those people Uchiha?" Advertisement: the ninjas brought by Shi Shangyang were the ones who were in charge of the reception. They wore the standard ninja vests of Tiano village, with only a small family emblem engraved on the back of the vest. It is said that no one knows, but any ninja will basically know this. That's why Yugura asked such a question after seeing the group emblem of the group fan. Shi Shangyang smiled slightly and said, "That's right, those people are indeed ninjas of the Uchiha clan." It can be said that the whole Uchiha family betrayed Konoha. It can be said that it has spread throughout the ninja world, especially the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. The master has already mastered this information, and Konoha can't block this kind of information leaking, because it simply can't be done. So when Shi Shangyang said this, Yugura's expression suddenly froze. Seeing this, Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "Yugura-kun seems to have thought of something?" This was obviously a well-intentioned question, and Yugura was silent. Terumi Mei, who was beside him, asked, "The Uchiha family is here." Shi Shangyang raised his eyebrows and nodded with a smile. "Didn't I tell you guys about this?" "Oh, I didn't seem to have said it." In fact, it's not just the Uchiha clan, but the Hyuga clan branch house that defected from Konoha a few years ago. On my side, there is also the Uzumaki clan in the country of Vortex that you destroyed decades ago, and also on my side. 5. Yugura's expression changed, and he looked up at the people in the field who were talking to Miss Shinobi, and immediately saw the familiar red swirl family emblem. "Are you surprised? The Uzumaki family has been miserable for decades. It took a lot of effort to find the orphans and survivors of the whirlpool from all over the ninja world. After several years of recuperation, the whirlpool in the village is now the clan has more than 100 ninjutsu skills. They know that this time they will entertain guests from Miss Shinobi, and they are looking forward to each one." Shi Shangyang said with a smile. Yugura frowned. He naturally knew what happened back then. Regarding the destruction of the country of Vortex, in fact, it was not just the matter of the Miss Shinobi family. Cloud Shinobi also contributed to this matter, but because the country of the Vortex was too geographically located. It is close to the country of fire, and is too far from the country of water and thunder, so in the end, only the country of Vortex was destroyed, but it did not directly occupy it. So much so that it still looks like a deserted place after the war. 3. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot flowers katakana middle dot advertisement. When Shi Shangyang said this, he was obviously warning him, which meant that everyone could understand it. At the same time, Yugura also saw a bit of hatred from the Vortex people in the field. It is indeed a feast without a good feast. Citrus Yugura sighed like this, then took a deep breath and said, "If you want to persecute like this, then the result may disappoint you." Shi Shangyang laughed. "Don't get me wrong, I don't mean anything else, I just want to let you know one thing, Yugura-kun. Please subscribe, inch." And Shi Shangyang continued. "I just want to tell you that I am not interested in the land of water, but I am very interested in the people of the land of water. To put it bluntly, I only care about the population of the land of water, and the excellent talents of Miss Shinobi, and using these talents is what I want to do most. Now, can you understand my thoughts?" 99 At this moment, Yugura finally knew where the real gap between Miss Shinobi and Tien Nomura was. Shi Shangyang's mouth curled up when he heard the words, and he said directly, "There are so many things I want to do that I can't finish them in a day, but one thing I can be sure of is that I need you to help me manage the country of water. You will continue to take on the responsibilities of Mizukage. 35. Shi Shangyang said, "Everyone is precious to me, even the most ordinary people. When you destroyed the kingdom of Vortex, it was only for the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki family. But you don't know, over the years, the people of the Uzumaki clan have developed no less than 20 kinds of sealing techniques. And such people, why do you only think about obtaining results, but not cultivating and paying?" The wolf orange Yugura looked serious, and he understood what Shi Shangyang meant. "What's the matter?" he asked. 0. Taking a deep breath, Yugura asked in a deep voice, "If the kingdom of water and the kingdom of fields merge, what do you want to do?"